very excited to see what adaptations, if any, if either of these teams will make. They have had plenty of chances to play against each other, and we're going to come out strong. The Jarvan and the Jinx hitting the ban board right off the bat.
Yeah, you don't want Psycho on that, Jinx. We saw what he's able to do with it during the series against Big Pythons earlier today. Not only that, but apparently he got a pentakill on it earlier in the morning. The Viego ban coming out in turn, which means that Albi, sadly, will not be able to pilot this champion. And the Nasus ban coming out from Big Pythons. Obviously, Psychosis able to pilot that champion in the top side by Low Life Fields, or even possibly Burgle in the jungle. I think we might have actually seen the Nasus jungle piloted by Burgle earlier today.
Yes. Well, we also saw another Nasus in the series that we actually just got done casting. That Nasus was very, very nasty and kind of just did whatever he wanted. You might have been mistaken. You would have been forgiven for mistaking it as a Mundo. Is Caitlyn going to be the first pick here for Psychosis?
Caitlyn's pick from Psychosis, but the Lux has been banned, so a lot of that lane power has been taken away. I wonder what they're going to pair Caitlyn with to respond to the Sivir Zyra bot lane combo. There is no other team in the tournament, I am confident, that are running the Zyra jungle like we are with Extra, so that is safely to say that is in the bot lane. That being said, Dr. Mundo grabbed the side of Psychosis and Sion, which signals that they are going to be placing that Dr. Mundo in the jungle.
They got some beef on that team. Dr. Mundo and Sion, notoriously difficult to take down in the longer team fights, and not only that, but also just as the game goes on, they just get progressively tankier and tankier. So a lot that Team Pythons is going to have to shred through, even with the armor penetration. But, you know, what was left over? The Mordekaiser, and it's really, really easy to make these fights more even if you just transform a 5v5 into a good old-fashioned 1v1.
That's right, and Mordekaiser is more than happy into both of these top laners options. You know, Mundo or Sion heading towards that top lane is completely fine if you're on the side of Mordekaiser. At this point, I think it's a little bit too dangerous to sit Sion at support in order to not be countered, or in order to not lose that lane against the Mordekaiser, considering what Zyra can do to a non-mobile tank champion at support. So I expect that we will see our support probably be something ranged that is not going to have an easier time playing against the Zyra. That being said, Morgana's still on the table, and they elect the Leona. I was wrong. It might be a Zyra jungle, and they're pulling a play out of the Extra playbook. Yeah,
we'll have to see that works out for them, because that Zyra, a notoriously great jungler, but can sometimes suffer in some of the ganks. Great team fighter, though, so we'll have to see if Team Big Pythons can actually pilot that champion to success. Meanwhile, though, these drafts are going really, really fast right now. Both of these teams seem to be very, very eager for the rematch, of course. We have the friendship thing, you know, Psycho, friends with, Myth, no, not Myth, I gotta go back.
Legends.
Past Legends on the other side, so, you know, a little bit of a friendship to the end, the great rivals in the best of 5. Psychosis handily dealt with Team Big Pythons in that best of 3, but obviously this is a very different thing when you get to a best of 5. That said, they know each other really, really well, and I think they're just eager to get back out onto the Rift and potentially rehash those couple games. Nami going to be the pickup there for Caitlyn. Makes a lot of sense. Give them some laning trading power, give them some passive healing, and some shielding. And what will be their final pick in the mid lane, as they are going to elect to see a Malzahar. That is our second one in a row, and our first one of the Yellow Division series.
Yeah, it's a very straightforward kind of, you know, front to back team fighting composition where you just have Sion running in, Mundo's this beefcake in the front line, kind of tanking up a lot of your damage. Malzahar's get there to get any picks that Caitlyn can obviously put a trap under and instantly blow up. Meanwhile, on the other side, a nice spicy go into the Malzahar. That's what you like to see coming out of the side of Big Pythons. They're ready to play.
So I think, like, draft-wise, I think for Psychosis, I think, like, it's very, very clear execution. Like, Meatball comp, protect antibiotics, protect Psycho, get that Caitlyn to the late game where she's going to be incredibly oppressive, make it to where it's going to be very, very difficult for anybody to approach her, because, you know, the tankiness on the side of TBP is just not quite as good as what Psychosis has. However, I think that TBP have drafted their ways to get on top of these champions. I think Mordekaiser is incredibly oppressive, as I highlighted earlier. I think with Albi here being on that Zyra, I think it's going to be incredibly interesting to see how that jungle matchup goes up. And then obviously Zoko and Menaconda on that bot side with the Leona and the Sivir. There's a lot of trading power, a lot of AoE team fighting capability that they'll have as the game goes on later. So for me, it's just about kind of who can start to get these incremental advantages and then accurately snowball those into more meaningful leads.
Yeah, 100%. I think that it really is going to depend on the lane states and how each of these lanes go. I think if Yone gets an advantage towards the early game, it's really going to rocket this team into a winning position. If you have a winning Yone in this lane, and then you've also got Angry Plicker on this champion that is really strong in the 1v1, you now have two side lane demons. Albi is piloting a champion, Zyra, in the jungle that is excellent in a 3v3 situation. It feels really hard and oppressive to actually deal with this champion just by virtue of the plant damage, especially once she gets that Leandra's Tournament going.
Absolutely. And I think also the speed of the jungle clear as well is going to help them kind of maintain the pressure that they want to across the lanes. But of course, you can't be everywhere all the time, unless of course you're somebody just playing Mordekaiser. And Lowlife feels just going to be happy to kind of passively farm this up in the top lane. Angry Pickler not really going to be under too much threat from the Scion, though, all things considered. Especially because his health bar is always deceptive, and his ability to trade on the Scion is additionally also deceptive. I want to get your opinion. We were talking about this mid lane matchup and how, as I said, I think you said something along the lines of it's super easy for Yone to clap the Malzahar cheeks. As the late game goes on, though, Dusk Legends, will he have some sort of difficulty in getting locked down by this Malzahar in the team fights?
Yeah, so the main issue comes when the ultimates come online, because as soon as Antibiotics has the ultimate and some damage built into the kit, if Dusk Legends ever tries to actually overstep and ult onto him, or Shadow Clone Q onto him, he can get locked down under tower and take a massive amount of damage. So Antibiotics can play this correctly, play closer to his turret, and if he does so, it is going to be a problem for Dusk Legends and his ability to pick up any early kills.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, like as we've highlighted too, a lot of times with the Malzahar, you're not necessarily looking for damage at the beginning. You're just looking to be useful to hold somebody down while your team does a lot of damage. Speaking of a lot of damage, though, Virgil getting knocked down as his Mundo. His shield may not be popped, but his health is certainly being reduced. And Albi here, he's going to be very, very happy to walk away with additional scuttles. His Angry Pickler starting to put damage on top of this Scion. Slowly burning doesn't feel good.
Slowly burning definitely does not feel good, and he is lucky, though, that Lowlife had no mana to respond or retaliate. That being said, Angry Pickler is having a nice time in this top side. He has already doubled the farm of Lowlife, and he's also going to go back, get a nice blasting wand. That is going to be some well-needed power for this top side. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it is going exactly how I expected. Dusk Legends is just pushing Malzahar under tower over and over again. He's going to look to roam. No, he's going to end up going back towards the mid lane.
Okay, let's take a bet. What is that blasting one going to turn into? Because I think it's going to be. Because I think it's going to be Leandry's. Not Leandry's. I think it's going to be Rylai's. Sorry, not Leandry. Rylai's.
Yeah, 100%. You build Rylai's into any tank matchup. It just allows you to get your stacks quicker, your passive going, and then also get your Conqueror stacks a lot easier. Not to mention that Lowlife has a slow by virtue of his E, so. His Q actually does slow as well if you instant cast it. So, yeah, you just want to make sure that you're always sticking on top of Lowlife as much as possible as the Mordekaiser. So, yeah, 100% he goes Rylai's first item.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see what Lowlife feels he should start to build. We've talked about that Hollow Radiance and how good it is to kind of get some of that passive magic resistance, but then also, like, you don't get to build some of that tankiness that you need for AD, but it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you need to be able to survive the Mordekaiser, but also, like, you have some significant AD damage threats between the Sivir and the Yone, so you need to be able to tank those, and if you index into the magic damage or into the magic resistance, you're going to leave yourself a little skinny on the armor. So I would expect to see kind of some sort of weird hybrid where maybe he tries to pick up like a null magic ban or something like that, or potentially just try and grab a thorn mail whenever possible.
Yeah, if he ends up going into a straight MR build, if you're Albi, you really just start to pivot towards focusing that bot side and the mid lane as your primary targets, just because Scion will get to a point where there really is nothing you can really do to try and kill him. And even if you do, he's just going to wave clear with the Hollowed Radiance. So, that being said, I expect that Albi will transfer over to the bot side if Scion itemizes that wave. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we do have a relatively even lane, 51 farm to 47, falling into the advantage of the Caitlyn, which is what you would expect with the Caitlyn Nami lane, but definitely not as much as you would want on the side of Psychosis. Usually this lane is pretty dominant in most 2v2 matchups by virtue of the amount of damage you can do and the amount of poke that you have with this Caitlyn.
Yep. Additional question for you on that top side matchup. What is the point at which Lowlife feels is like no longer worried about the Mordekaiser? Like, is there kind of an itemization breaking point, or is this sort of just this constant threat that he's constantly going to have to be worried about with the Mordekaiser?
as long as Mordekaiser has full Conqueror stacks and has no heal cut being applied to him, Sion will always lose that matchup. So it's this really awkward situation you get put in as the Sion where you have to build early heal cut, but Mordekaiser is, you know, magic damage based. And so if you build the Thornmail item, the Bramble Vest, you end up still taking tons of damage, but at least you cut the healing. And so, yeah, it is heavily Mordekaiser favored for, I would say, the entire game. Now, it is mitigated by items to the point where, you know, Mordekaiser's not really not going to get many advantages in that top side. But yeah, Sion will never have a position where he is going to go even in that lane. He's always going to be on the back foot.
Sure. And to me, I think that signals that his main job is to peel and to set up opportunities for the rest of the members of Psychosis to start to deal in damage, just to interfere. Obviously, that's difficult, though, because Angry Pickler, as long as he gets anywhere near in a target that he wants, it just pulls him to the Death Realm. And then you can look to kind of knock that person down. Then you come out in your really good spot in terms of damage and tankiness. And I think the other thing that, again, it has concerned me, and I addressed this earlier, but I think it bears repeating, is the fact that so much damage from Psychosis is heavily locked into this Malzahar and to this Caitlyn. And really, to be honest with you, it's just locked into this Caitlyn because it's going to be a long time before Antibiotics is going to be in a position where he can start to do serious damage even to the squishier targets. It just takes a long time for that Malzahar to kind of come online, even though he does have a pretty nice CS advantage in that mid lane. And so for me, it's just really about, how long can Psychosis buy to get Caitlyn online? Because the Decimating Smash is starting to do quite a bit of damage. Dusk not going to be able to get the ult on top of Antibiotics. It does flash.
But he needs to be careful here. He's missed everything.
Yeah, manages to flash out. The Decimating Smash would be nice. One more auto attack would do it. Lands the slow and the auto. First blood over to the Sion. We were worried about him just having to passively do the heal cutting of the damage, but Low Life makes a liar out of us within 1 minute and gets the first blood for Psychosis.
Okay, it should definitely be mentioned that the reason why he ended up losing that fight is because he took like 3 turret shots for no reason and also missed his kit like 5 times. So Sion got plenty of random Qs that were definitely unnecessary, and I think Angry Pickler just not understanding the amount of damage that he could do in that moment after having taken so much damage for no reason.
Manaconda, not where you want to be standing. They're going to get the grubs, but it's going to cost the life of their support as the jungle was not waiting in the wings to help out there. And so, Psychosis, they're going to be happy with the 2 kills they've got right now. Grub's not particularly important to them. They already have the dragon. They're willing to trade that objective. And, yep, Psychosis so far, they are winning a little bit in this early game and continuing their winning ways from the earlier series. It's going to be up to TBP to kind of break out of that funk.
Yeah. Angry Pickler still has the advantage in this lane, still a slight gold lead, but yeah, there's just too much damage that was taken before that fight, but hopefully he can get back into the game and start showing what this matchup can do and why the Sion should permanently be behind. Yeah, see, you always save your E for immediately when Low Life tries to cast his Q, and you immediately cast it, and it drags him out of the animation and forces it. It makes it so that it will never be a knockup. It will only be a slow. I don't know if he understands that interaction, or maybe he's just not triggering his E fast enough to be able to cancel that.
That, or he's mistiming it like off a cooldown.
Yeah, just he's mistiming it off the cooldown, and now he's in the situation where he really needs to step back and wait. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Antibiotics doing a good job of mitigating this lane. In fact, he's even got a farm lead.
He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He is making that lane entirely uninteractive, which is exactly what you want out of that. He's just like, look, I don't care about you at all. I don't want to interact with you. I'm here for minions. You just happen to be standing near the minions. If you take damage, that's your fault. And that's exactly the mentality he should have. Like, you are not trying necessarily, quote-unquote, win that lane. For Antibiotics, winning that lane is not dying and getting dove and having a CS either equal or ahead, which is really easy. As long as you're managing your mana correctly and being careful about stepping forward, like, you're going to have an easy time in that lane, and that will help them because, frustratingly for
not at that time.
Yep. Frustratingly for Dust Legends, though, the thing is going to be is, like, you really want to get kills onto that Yone wherever possible, as Low Life feels. Going to be able to flash out. Teleport coming in here. Dust Legends wants to try and get something. Ult's going to land on top of one. Fate unsealed. But the barrier will be popped. Psycho, will he be able to get free? Yes, no. Is Albie here going to make sure they grab that one? The Caitlyn's going to go down. Reborn can only watch. 4 committed to this bot side. No neutral objectives to play for, but they'll be happy to get the turret gold.
Yeah, you managed to get a kill on the bot side, but at what cost? You send the Yone down and burn the teleport to gank bot lane. Now he's going to have to back and run back to lane. Meanwhile, on the mid side, Malzahar able to get a nice little nearly 20 farm lead and get a few plates. So net the net gold game is relatively minimal for the side of Big Pythons, and you actually go down in the XP because of it in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, being careful. Antibiotics, he's going to die here. Meanwhile, on the top side, though, Angry Pickler will be the next one to fall. 350 shutdown gold goes over to him. The Hollow Radiance, by the way, already completed for the side of Lowline. Feels good. So even though he's been getting beat up, he's already the first to get his itemization, even though it is a little less expensive. And that will certainly help them as they look to try and break out of these lane assignments.
Yeah, it's a bit of a caster curse there for Antibiotics. You know, he's able to get an advantage out of the mid lane because yeah, he's able to get, you know, a few of those plates, but doesn't actually bother to give any respect towards Albie, who's heading back towards the mid lane from that bot gank, runs straight through River, straight into mid, and just catches him off guard, and because of it, Dusk Legends picks up a kill.
Absolutely. Zelko and Manaconda starting to get a little bit more control over this bot side, at least while there's a man disadvantage. Psycho, again, just on a farming duty, did have to blow some of the summers earlier and got ganked, which is unfortunate for him, so there's a possibility to re-gank that here, especially as the next dragon is going to start to come up. Interested to see what Virgil wants to do, where he's going to go, and if he wants to make his presence known in order to go ahead and get that dragon. Has completed the Heartsteel, so that means that he is going to be at least looking for some fights to try and get into the melee range and get that stacking. And what better opportunity to do that than potentially start a dragon fight?
100%. Albie does have a slight gold advantage in the jungle. At this point in the game, level 10, I would rather have the Zyra than the Mundo. That being said, Virgil does have the... Oh, got a bit of a fight up here. Should be able to walk away on the side of Angry Pickler, and he does. Does have the Heartsteel completed on the side of this Mundo, so you really do not want to be in long, lasting melee engagements with the Mundo. You really want to keep him CC'd as long as possible, because we've all seen when a Mundo gets plenty of stacks, he actually ends up one-shotting people by virtue of how much health he has.
Yep. And they're going to look to try and utilize that potential health stacking to nab themselves a dragon. As the top laners just trying to punch each other in the face until one of them dies. Low Life Feels just going to walk out of this one. Is that Rylai's slowing him adequately for Angry Pickler to continue to stack that passive. It's a 4v4 down here in the bot side. Low Life going to get grabbed yet again. It gets pulled into the death room, but should be able to get underneath the turret. Angry Pickler doesn't want to pursue him there. Just, yeah, flash forward, trying to get the Q. CC going to be committed. Oh, no, he would have won if he had just stayed there, but, oh, Life Feels manages to get it with the Scion passive. Now, Dragon to be completed there for TBP. A lot committed to try and stall that one out, but not going to be able to. It's a 1v1 at the top side. It's a dragon apiece. No gold lead for either team. These teams are dead even.
Dead even and dead even on dragon stacking. So a very back and forth game here coming out for the gold division final. Meanwhile, on the top side, that was just an unfortunate play by Angry Pickler. I feel like he thought that he was actually outside of tower range when he ended up ulting him, only to get dragged back in and taken like 3 or 4 tower shots, which ended up getting Low Life Feels the return kill once he got into his undead form. Zoko just haunts him down.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, just straight up doing damage. But Manaconda doing a really good job of preventing Reborn from kind of being more aggressive there in order to kind of help that. Dust Legends, he might be in a little bit of trouble here, but Albie wants to see if he can help out. Virgil forced to back off. Antibiotics just trying to find a little bit of coverage, but he is slowly ticking. Flash forward, trying to get a refresh on it. Ult committed near the turret, but not close enough to get the damage into Dust Legends. And that's what we wanted to see out of the Yone 2-0-1 TBP. They are trying to fight back. Well, Virgil potentially fall here. Plant doing quite a bit of damage. Manaconda, ooh, they could have looked to dive it if he had stayed, but instead he's going to walk away.
He's going to walk away. Something I do want to note is that Albie is elected into second item magic pens. I mean, the Oblivion Orb, which gives not magic pen, but grievous wounds, just to stop the healing from the Mundo. That being said, Nami also provides plenty of healing in the bot side, and Scion eventually will be healing passively once he gets Unending Despair, so it will help there a little bit, but mostly it's for the Mundo and the Nami anti-heal, which will be important going into this mid game.
We'll see
and the plants apply it too, so.
Oh, absolutely. We'll see what the move from both of these the next move from both these teams is going to be. Again, almost virtually dead even state, although a little bit of a gold lead starting to be put up by TBP. They're in a really good spot. Low life feels just going to be forced to flash to get away from the Mordekaiser. TBP trying to make their way up towards this top side. They're going to have to get relatively close to the side. This is we saw this play.
Is this a repeat?
Angry Pickler. He's just going to straight up get the kill. There's going to be no trade this time, and that might be the signal for Side to go ahead and go on in. Dust Legends going to be snapping back. Manaconda just trying to CC the Mundo, and in fact, it will land. Is getting passively healed up, though. Zyra ulti committed. Solar Flare on the top. A double bubble keeps him alive just for a moment longer, but in the end will fall. This should just be the Herald going over to TBP. They're going to get it. Malzahar channeling the ulti. Barely annoys the Zenith Blade. Antibiotics. He wants to get a little bit more. He's going to throw the E. Manaconda will just slowly start to burn. That's going to be one for the Malzahar. So in an extended fight, they walk away with a couple of kills, but they lose the objective.
What did we just watch there? It seems like just a collision of misplays and errors.
We just watched a goofy team fight. That's what we just watched. Goofy team fight.
Yeah, it seemed that way. I mean, at the end of the day, Big Pythons does walk out with a slight advantage. But meanwhile, on the top side, Angry Pickler, I mean, is it deja vu or is it just me? Does the exact same misplay in the top side, ults the Scion in tower range, and then takes like 3 tower shots because he gets knocked up by the Scion Q. It results in a Scion kill, and now the Scion's 3-1, has a completed Hollow Radiance, has the heal cut that he needs, and even though there's a significant farm lead for the Mordekaiser, it's relatively an even state in the top side.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, you're right to kind of feel like it's a little bit like Groundhog Day. Angular Picker, I think, is just kind of getting a little bit impatient for where he wants to be and just feels like he probably should be doing more to the Scion, but it's really not happening. A little bit feels he's been doing really, really well to play underneath the turret, and it's kind of like that moment in solo queue where, like, well, you only won because you had the turret. It's like, yeah, but you were stupid enough to go under it. So I think right now, Lomai feels he's just happy to invite this Mordekaiser underneath the turret and potentially kill him there. And, I mean, he's winning these trades. The Hollow Radiance is getting a lot done. But the trade-off there is TBP. They're going to be able to grab that turret in the mid lane. They want to try and grab the rest of these structures. Dragon in 44 seconds, and Psychosis, they want to try and get a position to contest for this.
Yeah, I want to be clear here. Like, the Mordekaiser wins this matchup, but not if you just get freely hit by every single ability that Scion throws out. You know, it's like every single matchup can lose if that ends up happening. So, you know, I just feel like there's the pilot. You got to pilot the champion a little bit better for that matchup. You have to be able to dodge some of these abilities earlier in the earlier game. But now that we're in the mid game, you know, it seems like it's a little too late. And now you've kind of lost the advantage that champion gives you. And Scion is going to get to the point where you really can't kill him anymore. Sure, you can deny waves, but
he's going to drop here. Yeah, that Solar Flare is going to lock him down.
Falls.
Yeah, Manaconda's going to be able to pick that one up. This Dragon should just be going to TBP. Continuing to get aggressive, trying to make plays across the map. Low life feels, again, just buying time up here. Angry Pickler. Surely Angry Pickler's going to be able to pick this one up now. Continuing to land the Q, continuing the passive damage. Now, we've seen this twice now where Angry Pickler then just turns, or sorry, Low life feels just turns around and ults, but that will not be happening for a third time. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, also shame on me. But this won't happen a third time. And Angry Pickler, he's going to finally pick up that turret.
Yeah, fool me 3 times. I've been fooled by the best. But in that scenario, you just watched Low Life Feels. He used his ultimate correctly to get all the way to the very edge of the Mordekaiser ultimate. And once that's done, he's able to just walk under the safety of his turret. Ends up not falling to Angry Picker. Meanwhile, though, Brogil ends up getting caught, or Brogil ends up getting caught in the bot side, which does result in the second dragon for Big Pythons. And if that happens, you've got to be happy for a team. Meanwhile, Angry Pickler might get caught here, has to flash, but he's got Manaconda here to escort him out of the danger zone.
Yeah, that additional safety will just kind of keep that Mordekaiser safe. That additional safety will keep him safe. Yes, it will. But it'll give him some agency to kind of walk in and out of this lane, especially with the Leona just kind of being right there. It would be one thing to try and get a 1v1 with a Mordekaiser. It's another thing entirely to do it while there is a Leona. And so I think, like, as much success as Psychosis has had in this game, in some elements, I think TBP, like, they're definitely starting to stack their lead. They're feeling really comfortable with the game state. 2 dragons to their name. They got the Herald. They also got the Grubs, so they're going to have permanent siege power. Angry Pickler just continuing to put damage into low life. And we're starting to see one of the strong points of the TBP composition, which is that when it has access to the map, it begins to become really oppressive. They can start to shove out lanes really well, and it becomes really difficult for players like Antibiotics and Psycho to really move across the map without becoming significantly endangered. But even as I say that, though, Virgil Might be trying his luck with Dust Legends right here. It's a 2-level advantage. Dust Legends, though, needs to be careful. Gonna try and commit onto the Malzahar. I'm not sure that was the problem. Unfortunately, though, he didn't land the full combo, but if Antibiotics had actually had all of his CDs up, absolutely, Dust Legends just dies there. He's very, very lucky to live, but they're gonna trade for a Baron on the top side.
Yeah, they're going to do their best to take this Baron while they saw Brogil or Brogil on the bottom there.
It's really not fast.
Yeah, their take is very slow.
Low Life sees this. He can make something happen. This is going to be a tough one for the Malzahar. He did use his ulti. That's going to be the full commit from his Sion. This is a coin flip and a half. It's going to be the Zyra ulti placed on top of that. It's going to be Dust Legends going on a rampage, but the health bar is still fairly low. Low Life getting a lot done with the passive. Virgil, what else can he get done? Dust Legends, Angry Pickler, they're all starting to get low. Reborn can really only watch from the side. Oh, Antibiotics, be very, very careful. Still 4 strong, but the jungler is dead. Reborn wants to see what he can get to the silence. Okay, the Malzahar really starting to hurt. Now you're going to get in trouble because if the E spreads onto multiple people, this could be really, really bad, and they would just want to leave out of here. Zoko needs to be very careful. Manaconda also getting hit. Antibiotics, he's looking for the kills. He can smell them. Zoko going to get E'd. Don't get silenced. Reborn, not going to be able to do it yet. It's a 1-for-1 trade. The health bar is just so low, but the Baron gets stalled. TBP, they bit off a little bit more than they could chew.
They bit off a little bit more than they could chew, but they do end up getting some kills in response. I believe at the end of the day, it is still a 3-for-2 or 3-for-1. So you are still okay with that play on the side of Big Pythons. That being said, way too much of a risk to take at that point in the game. Play a little bit slower, guys. You really got to just, slow down the game. You already have some winning lane states. Let Yone get back into that side lane and do what he does best. You don't necessarily need to force the Baron just because you saw the Mundo down there. And if you are going to force the Baron, you need to have a game plan to be able to respond when they only send 1 or 2 members to stop you.
Absolutely. I mean, a good job by Psychosis to even stall out that Baron because it looked like it was going to be theirs, but Low Life feels doing a really, really good job to stall that out. Brought plenty of time for the other members of Psychosis to get down there, and the result is that now this is not an objective that they have to worry about, but even as I say that, though, Low Life feels needs to go ahead and find his way out of here. Shouldn't be under too much danger from Dust Legends. Just continue to walk that out, and by God, does that Yone ability need to be completely nerfed? Psychosis going to get locked into the death room here, but he does a lot of damage, and that passive not yet stacked for Psychosis. Eventually he'll stack it, but not until he's dead. It's a 1-for-1. That's not worth a lot more expended from the side of the Mordekaiser, and that's a big part of their damage down. That's a big champion for them that they no longer have access to. The jungler's available. Ping's going down on top of the dragon.
They
TPP.
can play this a little... yeah, the Big Pythons can play this front to back now. Now that their AD carry is dead, they can just worry about the tanks, considering that Albi still does have some of that heal cut.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like they might be looking to trade the Baron for Dragon Point.
TBP, they were trying to fake that they wanted to go this Dragon, like, oh, that's fine, we're fine with this trade, but I don't really think that they are fine with this Baron trade. Caitlyn's respawn now, so both members are up. The Mordekaiser will be dead for a couple more seconds. Doesn't have teleport, so he'll have to take the long way. And maybe TBP are going to be fine with this Dragon. They're just going to go ahead and grab it, give over the Baron to Psychosis, even though it's not a long take, not contested. So, yeah, both teams agreeing to handshake on those objectives.
Yeah, it seems a little bit weird, but honestly, I can understand it. I think at the end of the day, the advantage obviously does go to Psychosis. Having that Baron buff is really going to help you get some gold back in your pockets while you push the waves out. You'll probably be able to get a turret or two if you're able to maneuver properly. Meanwhile, Big Python's obviously placing some onus and some importance onto that Dragon Point. They feel like if they're able to get a 4th or a Chemtech soul in this game, it's going to really make them harder to fight in team fights and possibly harder to burst down, especially when you're playing champions like Yone and Zyra. That's really going to help you.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think like what both of these teams need to do to get decisively a lead because they've been trading these leads back and forth. TBP, they haven't really gone their lead since about the 18 to 20 minute mark. So things have kind of just been languishing here, and that's been giving Psycho and Antibiotics plenty of time to get their items on board. Antibiotics is starting to reach the 3-4 item spike. He's even bought the Oblivion Orb to kind of cut down on some of the healing that some of these champions are doing, including Dust Legends and Angry Pickler just cutting down on any of that regeneration they've got going on, and they're in a decent spot to continue to siege this right now. Angry Pickler, as long as he's occupied in this top side, that gives Psychosis a plenty of opportunity to make plays. Low Life feels his only job is just to wait Angry Pickler's time. Even if he gets ulted here, even if he dies, it's worth it. Low Life feels he's doing everything he needs to do. Every second Angry Pickler is here is a victory for Psychosis. And, you know, I'm not saying there's a world in which Scion's going to win this, but, I mean, just the amount of time he's wasting is absolutely worth it. And what's funny is TBP, they're way more reliant on the Mordekaiser than Psychosis is reliant on the Scion, if that makes any sense. Like, if it's a 4v4, just in Nidalee without the Mordekaiser, Psychosis wins. But if it's a 5v5, then Psychosis needs Scions, so it's just like managing to spread them across the map, I think, is going to be the win condition for Psychosis.
Yeah, 100%. That is the win condition for Psychosis. On the side of Big Pythons, I feel like you really have to just force them into answering this Mordekaiser and put the Mordekaiser in lanes where he will have kill pressure. I don't necessarily think it's going to be against the Scion eventually, because Scion, like we talked about, will have the atomization necessary to make that no longer a problem. Meanwhile, we have just kind of a fake out of an engage. Nothing really happens. Zoko does burn the ultimate, but nothing is really resulting because of it.
On the Hunt was used to just try to get them a little bit of movement speed, and in return, that was traded for the Oh my word, what a knockup. That's 2 dead in the blink of an eye. The Zyra ult going to buy a little bit of space, but not enough to do anything. They're chasing underneath the turret. Psychosis, they want to continue their winning ways. Angry Picker just trying to get a little bit of space, but the Scion doing a fantastic job of tanking, of running him down. Zoko, the next on the menu. Low Life feels he's going to start to put the damage into the turret. They may not be able to end yet because the Baron is going to fall off, but they can start to certainly put the damage into these structures, and Inhibitor will certainly be on the plate for Psychosis. They've done well to survive this game. They've kept their damage dealers alive. They baited out quite a few of his abilities, and now they can walk away with the fruits of their ill-gotten gain.
Yeah, a nice feeling on the side of Psychosis. They finally pulled the trigger and were able to immediately get a few kills off the bat in that team fight. If I'm in those comms, I am praising Low Life Feels. What an excellent engage there. He's able to knock up 2 members into an immediate second knockup from his Q, and that results in an immediate teamfight loss for the side of Big Pythons. Man, that was tough to watch. I think if you're on Big Pythons, you have to really make a big sigh and start to realize, hey, I don't know if we start to win these 5v5 team fights. You've got to make Angry Pickler go to the side lanes or Dusk Legends and hope that you're able to get advantages there, because I do not think that you're going to win these straight up fights.
No. Well, and I mean, here's the kind of the reality for TBP. I mean, yes, they're going to start to struggle in some areas, but you still have Sipper, who's late game stacking. The reality is Mordekaiser still hasn't even reached full build, but I don't imagine he's going to have that much more significant damage. I feel like spiritually he's about as dangerous as he's going to get, although technically that's not true, as he's competed that Hextech plate there, so he's going to have a little bit more tankiness. It's just a question of what other damage item he wants to build, if there is one, or if he's just going to try to index to be a little bit more survivable. I'll be here. He wants to try and find some angle, but he's getting spotted out. Psychosis doing a really, really good job of maintaining vision and spotting out where everyone wants to try and come in through this river. Keep an eye on Angry Pickler. This is the most important part. This will be one of the most important fights that they've been part of, as that's going to be Reborn going down. Is instantly deleted. The redemption not enough to save him, but that's most importantly not the biggest member. Oh, it's Dust Legends. He ults through and doesn't get anything for it. He's on the wrong side of that one, and now this should just be the Dragon going over Psychosis. They'll be able to get their second one and deny the Dragon point. There's really nothing that anyone at TBP can do, especially after he's down. And yeah, that's going to be the call-off. They're just going to walk back straight to their base, and Baron's going to be spawning here in a few seconds as well. Presumably, Psychosis is going to go grab that objective.
Yeah, as soon as Albie gets an awesome pick onto Reborn, we watch the Nami fall, we watch Reborn immediately get blown up there, and at that point, I'm thinking, wow, this is a great play by the side of Big Pythons. All they really need to do is start to position correctly in a way where Dusk Legends can jump on the back line, but we saw it there. Dusk Legends completely airballs the ultimate, doesn't hit anyone, and is immediately blown up, because here's the thing, as soon as you ult on Yone, you are essentially stuck at the end of that ult range for around a half a second. We see an immediate trap set by Psycho, which just results in Dusk Legends immediately dying. His first death of the game, but still an important death thereafter, and because of that, yeah, they had to call that off. They lost a lot of their engage tools.
TBP You got to find a way to get back in this game, and it's really not going to start with trying to kill Low Life Feels, who is just absolutely empowered in this game. They're going to be giving up the Dragon as well. Again, it's not a quick take. Do they want to try and do something to it? I think that they know that this is going slow, but they need to be a little more decisive if they wanted to get here. 3, 2, 1 is just going to go down. Abby here not going to be able to grab it. That's going to be the Baron going over, and now that is going to be given over to Low Life Feels on the top side. Angry Pickler is here, but he has made this play all on his own, and now he is on his lonesome. He will surely die even if he manages to get one person. He's going to get bubbled, suppressed. He's not even going to get that. Low Life Feels is on the top side, pushing his advantage. Really, it's all Yon can do to just try and put damage into him. Low Life Feels does have the ultimate and can look to get out of this if he's too surrounded. And Psychosis, they're going to try and make their way towards the top side to grab this turret. Albie here stands in the way. And yeah, this is just long play. They're just grabbing what little they can grab because Psychosis is going to run it through the top.
Yeah, the difference here though is that Low Life Feels is doing a good death by virtually pulling all the members over to that bot side. The Psychosis is able to get this top tower, whereas when Angry Pickler went into the Baron pit for no reason, he ended up dying and gets nothing for his team. Another thing that I'm really confused about is this experimental hex plate on the side of Mordekaiser. This is an item you typically build when you're playing into non-tanks. It's something that allows you to kind of chase people down, especially once you get them into your ult zone. He's not tanky, so he's going to get blown up by whoever he takes into that realm. I think it would have been much better if he would have gotten a Jack Show or something that's actually going to allow him to team fight for a longer period of time.
Speaking of team fighting, Dust Legends, he wants to try and get his fight going off, but it's 4 strong on the top side. Redemption's going to come out, flash out to avoid the solar flare. The Zenith played on to the Dr. Muno, which is really not the target you want. Wave over them. This might be the team fight that they wanted. You know, sorry, is the Malzahar going to momentarily silence and stun up Angry Pickler? It's a double kill over to Yon. They bought some time, but their base is still being destroyed. Scion in that bot side going to put the damage in and start to knock down some of the towers. They didn't get much more egress into the base, but they got what they wanted, and it's a denial away. Another Dragon spawn on 1:50. And Black Mage, TBP, they're buying a lease on life, at least in this first game.
100%. They have finally found a way to take out the tankier members of the team. They make an excellent play. They're able to repel the Baron siege, and this will likely result in some Dragon control, or at least some vision control, so that they can set up their next play, which should be for the Dragon Soul. I would really hope that Angry Pickler sits on the other side of the map, draws some attention, and saves his TP for a good play. If Angry Pickler falls here to a side laning Scion, I think this is going to be extremely bad for them. They have to have a good ward set up deep in vision. That's not going to get cleared so that the teleport makes sense. But I do see Angry Pickler backing off. Maybe they believe that it's just better if they 5v5 straight up.
Yeah, and I think for Low Life Feels, I think you don't want to get locked in any lane with Angry Pickler anymore. I think you just want to try to avoid getting stuck in a solo situation with that Scion, even if you, or that Mordekaiser, even if you feel like you can sustain it. I think for the side of TBP, they have an option to just kind of non-engage this fight. They can look to just potentially contest around a larger objective or still farm. I really think that they want to try and secure this Dragon Soul, but if they feel it's not going well, they can just back off. It's not the end of the world. It'll only be drag point for Psychosis, and they can look to potentially play again. Virgil, he's getting a little aggressive. That's automatically baited out the Zyra ulti. And yeah, that means that that's another tool that they don't have to try and get in towards this river. And now, Psychosis, they can look to try and back off a little bit, start landing some of that damage on the Hunt is popped. But to what end? There's not anything that they can look to play for, and that's going to expire. They're not really getting any closer towards this dragon. And Virgil still taking up this damage. It's like, coaches, they're just playing this slow. They don't need to do anything crazy. Albie here has no other tools to get back in right. They're going to wait for Dust Legends. They want to try and knock him down. They want to prevent that ult from going off. The Redemption to be used to heal everybody up. Dust Legends on top of 4. Zoko on the backside. This might be what they needed. But the Low Life Feels doing a really, really good job. And it's a triple kill for the Sivir TBP. They may have found the fount that they needed. But the jungler is still up. Albie here trying to make sure that they can secure this. Virgil can continue to passively heal up. Antibiotics, he doesn't need a lot. As long as he's passively landing damage, it's absolutely worth. Virgil will keep him healthy. They want to stop these backs. They don't want Maniconda or anybody else coming back and trying to run back on the Rift. Scion doing a really good job. They're just being annoying. They just want to stop this from going off. Mordekaiser going to start to get the back off. As the dragon has spawned. Ooh, look at Maniconda. Wants to try and wrap around. The ping's coming down. Albie here and Zoko. Not leaving yet, but the teleport is going to be coming out. Antibiotics gonna come back. Virgil. That's again the ulti gone wide for the Zyra. On the hunt, popped yet again. Virgil will be able to walk out. Flash forward. Antibiotics. Angry Pickler trying to get him locked up. Antibiotics doesn't have ultimate just yet. Will be able to do something though. Manaconda's slain, and it's a trade for the Malzahar. Such a very, very long team fight, still on a razor's edge, but people are running out, and ones and twos. Caitlyn and Nami trying to run out here, trying to make it to their jungler. And all he wants to do is survive.
Don't worry, I'll let you take a breath. Meanwhile, on the top side, we've got Mundo trying to get away. He casts his ultimate to try to get some distance and maybe try to drag off Big Pythons from able to get that dragon, but it doesn't even matter. At the end of the day, they had the soul. They're able to track down that Mundo, and now they're going to be resetting back to the base. At the end of the day, it's a positive play for Big Pythons, as ugly as it looked, and they still are holding on to a 1.6 gold lead. 36 minutes in our first game of the set. Pretty impressive for the side of Big Pythons, the team that originally went down 0-2 the last time that they faced Psychosis.
And Dragon Soul is secure for them. It's going to feel really, really good. That's going to give them some extra survivability across the map, and just nice to have those passive stats. Psychosis really couldn't get anything going in that team fight, even though a number of tools were blown for TBP early on. They just didn't have any chance to get into that river and make the fight happen. And now with this Baron spawning at about 5 seconds, it's going to be round 2 Electric Boogaloo. It's just how these teams are going to make this fight, because the fights have been so close. Individual members been getting picked out. And again, like we highlighted, it just feels really reliant on Antibiotics and Psycho to get the damage done for the side of Psychosis.
Yeah, I think if Albie misses the ultimates, it makes their job so much harder. But when Albie does land that ultimate, it nukes the members of Psychosis. So a really big, important thing to watch here as the viewers. Watch Albie, watch his positioning, and see where he's going to set up this ultimate before the start of this team fight. This Baron, very likely, going to result in the end of this game.
Top wave pushing away from Psychosis, so that'll be something that someone will eventually have to answer. Mid wave as well, going to be answered by both teams, as Caitlyn just trying to contest the wave push here. And Virgil wants to avoid having that shield pop for as long as possible, so he can avoid or absorb some really really influential CC. And it's just the posturing. It's just the numbers game. Walking back and forth, seeing what else they can get. Clearing vision, making somebody worry. Dust Legends popping over the wall, but potentially could have been CC. That was very, very risky. Did have some vision, but didn't know if someone would be able to flash and get on top of him. Mordekaiser answering the top wave. But somehow, I still feel like Psychosis not in control of this. Dust Legends back and forth. Push and pull. The waves coming in and out. Albie here slowly taking more damage. Virgil, don't get sucked in. Yeah, wants to be careful. Don't get sucked in there, because if they turn on that Mundo, it makes any smite contest impossible. There is a massive wave queuing in that top side. Virgil doing so much damage. Angry Pickler being forced out, lands the Q, is going to get suppressed. They want to kill this Mordekaiser if they possibly can. He is going to go down. Wave to buy them a little bit more space. Dark Lessons on the back, trying to kill Psycho, but not able to. The flashes are huge. The Blast Cone hit by TBP ends up dooming them, as Caitlyn just trying to punch through the shields and is able to do so. Zoko on the backside, punting and the damage. Virgil trying to see what else he can get done. Dust Legends living for so long. Psycho goes down. Manaconda buying space for Zoko. 3-on-3 left.
I'll tell you this, Dusk Legends just saved the game there. By killing Psycho, they're not able to take that Baron. They're going to have to reset. Not only that, but they're going to be able to actually prevent the end of the game in general. So, Dusk Legends able to, a bit of a hero play towards the end there. That being said, Angry Pickler just caught out of position, didn't realize the turning ability of that Mundo. Mundo, by the way, absolutely chunking him with those hammers.
That was very surprising.
Eventually able to chase him down by the use of that Malzahar ultimate. What I want to see is Pickler really needs to play almost, ironically as it sounds, almost in the back of the team. He needs to kind of wait until the Psychosis engages, and then simply walk up and pick off with his ultimate the one threat that's actually hitting your carries, that being Albie and Zoko in the backline. Whether that's Mundo or Scion diving, you have to wait and use your ultimate for peel.
Absolutely. And we've now reached the point where the individual items just don't matter anymore, because everyone is virtually full build. Oh my god, Angry Pickler, with one cleaver, lost about a quarter of his health. That Mundo is doing serious damage. And that's going to be the one thing that TBP are not going to have to deal with, because the Mordekaiser was an effective tool for them earlier, but now is no longer. And the fact that you've highlighted that it's to the point where Angry Pickler might have to play towards the back of the composition shows that this Mordekaiser is no longer effective, and that the Psychosis damage, while being limited to a couple of members now, really 3 of them, is lethal enough where he's not able to frontline, and that's going to make these fights just that much harder. Again, we're seeing so many abilities wasted at the beginning of these fights by TBP, not getting anything for them. And Low Life feels, again, he's just going to continue to put pressure in this top side. Wherever Angry Pickler is, that's where TBP need to be. They're going to try and respond to Low Life feels. He can just walk out of here. Angry Pickler won't be able necessarily to stop the ultimate. Not sure where he wants to go. It's just slowly and passively being eaten alive here and ignited. Meanwhile, though, in this 5v5 for the bot side, that's the Malzahar securing the Baron. What else can they get? Low Life feels he can look to get out of here. He's going to be CC Moon, and he's going to make his way out of that river. Needs to get the hell out of dodge because multiple people, they're coming. That's a multi-man engage. He's still alive, but it's enough to buy some time. Redemption over the top. The Zyra is dead. Angry Pickler only just not getting him. Virgil did his damage, but now he's done. What else can they get? It's a 4v4. The Scion gone. The Zyra gone. But Angry Pickler, he's just getting eaten alive by these Mundo's cleavers. He healed so quickly. Now, Antibiotics, they want to chase this down. They have the Baron. They need to try and find a way to end this because the respawn timers are so long. Mandaconda surely going to be the next sacrificial lamb. Elder in 1 minute. In Psychosis, they're so much healthier, but it's just easier if you kill everybody. They're doing such a good job in trying to buy the Dust. Legends is dead. Zoko is surely next. Solar Flare, he's doing so much damage, but Zoko manages to go legendary. The jungler is dead. Zoko getting the hell out of there. But Psychosis and Antibiotics are reborn. They're just going to run and do damage into this turret. The respawn timer is still so long. Abby here, he's dead for 13. Can they end the game? They've got the super minions. They've got the Baron power. The Angry Pickler, oh, they may need to walk out of here. They're just going to be content to get all 3 inhibs and get the hell out of dodge. They're going to reset, and then they're going to go grab that Elder Dragon. Scion is up once again. 30 seconds until Dust Legends is back, that he won't be in time to set up for the Elder Drake. In Psychosis, they may have finally found the fight that they needed to break open this game.
100%. You know, they basically decide, hey, look, we're going to send Scion to the side lane. He's going to be able to respond a lot quicker than Angry Pickler will be on the Mordekaiser, and he does so in turn. Scion runs in. He's got Unending Despair, so if he's in combat, I think for like 4 seconds, he's going to get a massive heal if he's surrounded by 4 people. It's going to be roughly 500 to 600 damage, or 600 in healing that he'll receive from that item alone. But he's able to hit 3 people with his ultimate and immediately follows it up with a quick knockup that results in a kill and a Baron take for the side of Psychosis. They turn it into a 3 inhibitor strike, and now we're really in a winning position for the side of Psychosis despite being down 200 gold.
Yeah, and TBP, there's really nothing they can do about this Elder right now. They don't have the Mordekaiser there to help them. They've got super minions pushing into the base, but this is going to be a fight nonetheless. Wave over the top, Scion into the back line. Yet the silence is doing so much. The Elder secured for Psychosis, and now they can put the final touches on this fight and on this game. Angry Pickler goes into the stasis, but it is only to delay the inevitable. The Mordekaiser down, the Caitlyn with the triple kill, the quadra, give him the penta. As Zoko, oh, surely they're going to down it into Psychosis. They're going to wait for him. They're going to give him the penta kill. Psychosis and Psycho, the double wombo combo. They win the first game of this best of 5 series. It took almost 45 minutes, but eventually they're going to win it and start this series off right. Black Mage, as we get straight into draft, Vigar hitting the board for Team Big Pythons.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see any adaptations for how these teams want to play into each other. Psychosis getting the advantage of Big Pythons in that first game of the series, really going up on the day 3-0 as an overall score. That being said, it really looks like they just have their number mentally. Big Python starting with a great advantage. Outside of the top side, they were able to get some advantages going. They were able to get the Dragon Soul. It really looked like they had, or not they got the Dragon Soul. It looked like they had the tools necessary to actually win the game. But at the end of the day, the team fight just fell apart over and over again. They really weren't able to do anything on the side lane. And so it just felt like they didn't really have a great game plan outside of their core team.
Absolutely, and I think with as long as that game went, like it was on such a knife's edge for so long that you got to be a little bit tired in this game too, at least after that one, and trying to regroup mentally, even win or lose, you're going to have to kind of show some fortitude there. So very interesting to see how the teams would be feeling after that one. Psychosis obviously very happy to get the win, but it was a very, very close call for them for a while, and there were some things I think they definitely could take away from that win that didn't go so well. And one of those things is they're going to get even more frontline. Swain and Ornn hitting the board.
Yeah, the Ornn gets picked early along with the Swain. An early Ornn pick is really questionable in my opinion because it can be countered so easily by the Vayne. No, it's not the Vayne. It can be countered though with things such as Olaf. There are picks that are really good into it. The Poppy's really good into it. You can go Singed into it. But they're going to look for the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, Cho'Gath, that kind of stocks in an answer. It gives them a little bit of draft threat in terms of going into the jungle, going to the top. I think you'll be fine with either, and it gives them a little bit of flexibility in terms of if they see something they don't like in the jungle, then maybe they can, they can try and switch it around. Obviously, the Ornn is, really only going to go to the one spot, and Swain likely to be the support, I think, for Psychosis, as they are going to go ahead and lock in the Xin Zhao, so that basically confirms that the Cho'Gath going to the top side.
Wait. Cho'Gath is really bad into Ornn the more that I think about it. I think if Cho'Gath goes to knock up Ornn, Ornn can use his breath to mitigate the knockup. And at that point, you just Q.
And the CDs are roughly the same.
Yeah, so I feel like Cho'Gath into Ornn is a bit of a blunder there. I don't think that wins at all. Let me check UGG. I would like to see the stats on this.
And meanwhile, while you do that, I'm going to marvel the fact that for the first time in the entirety of this tournament, a Kayn has made it through into the draft. We've seen so many teams ban this champion, and it is finally hitting the Rift against a Xin Zhao of all champions. And I don't know, that makes me a little excited. Psychosis picking a Playmaker.
Playmaker champion combined with, Kayn in general is a late game champion. You want him to be getting his transformation as soon as possible. And combine that with an ornament, and you've got a very, very strong late game assassin jungler. That being said, I did just look up the percentage win rate of Ornn versus Cho'Gath. Get this, it's 55.2%. That's huge in League of Legends. If it's that high,
55
it
which
means
way?
that in the favor of Ornn.
Yeah, that's huge. 55% on a matchup individually is huge.
So I expect that Ornn will take full advantage of the fact that his breath will cancel that knockup pretty easily. And I wonder if Pig Pythons is ready for that, or if they plan on sending Xin Zhao top a few times to get Cho'Gath a nice advantage in that lane.
I mean, to put that in perspective for people who are watching, like if there's any Formula 1 fans out there, like 5% a matchup, by the way, in League of Legends is like 5 seconds in Formula 1. 5 seconds is the difference between first and 22nd place. If you're 5 seconds behind your opponent in Formula 1, then you're basically out of the race. And 5% in an individual 1v1 matchup on the top side, especially as a solo lane, is basically saying like, oh yeah, this is a 100% losing matchup in almost every instance. And so to me, if Cho'Gath is going to be up there against that Ornn, that's going to signal that there's going to need to be some jungle interference. As Sona hitting the selection for Psychosis, they want to save their ADC pick until the very last second.
100%. They do not want to expose what they plan on playing. That being said, this also signals that Swain will indeed be their mid lane pick, unless they plan on sending Ornn mid.
Unless this is Cho'Gath support.
Unless it's Cho'Gath support.
Because they just drafted a Volibear, and Volley into Ornn is a very different win rate.
Yeah, Volibear into Ornn is different. That being said, I wonder if they... Okay, this is just like out of left field, okay?
A Soul.
Okay, they dropped the Aurelion Soul, so whatever I was going to say is definitely not going to happen. Yeah,
okay.
this
so this is like Cho support, I think.
Yeah, it shows that Manny will be playing the Cho support. Manny is known for his very outlandish support picks. I remember earlier in the day that I believe he picked the Vi support that we ended up seeing lose the game. I mean, he was doing really well on it early on. It did end up losing the game, but he did play Vi support, so Cho'Gath support really not out of his wheelhouse. Meanwhile, on the other side, we do have an Orianna lock-in for the mid lane. So
is this gonna be Swain Sona bot lane with Orianna mid and then Ornn top Kayn jungle?
While on the bot side, just some early vision is going to prevent both sides of the game from taking any advantageous position. Angry Pickler is sitting on a ward and he does not know about it.
That's why Low Life Feels, I think, is dancing. And yep, and already you're starting to see Antibiotics. He just wants to go ahead and start trying to get a little bit of shove if he can into this A-Soul, but I mean, it's credit to like the point you're making earlier though. A-Soul is like just perfectly happy, sit underneath this turret, slowly farm, get stacks, like he's not in a rush at all. Zoka and Metaconda, though, they're going to have their work cut out for them, though, in this bot side. As Metaconda, again, just looking for these knockups, wants to passively do damage, wants to stack the Halo Blades. But that's easier said than done, though. Now, here's one potential disadvantage, though, is the fact that it's a double AP in that bot side. So they're really, really heavily indexed into magic damage. You have 3 out of your 5 champions indexing to magic, so any sort of magic resist here is super valuable.
Look what's happening right now in the mid lane.
Antibiotics is just going to die. Sir, you're not supposed to take that fight like that. That flash is just, I mean, that's the tax you have to pay, but Dust let it be like, all right, that's fine. I don't really care. You can leave if you want to. I'm going to continue to passively damage you. It would be disastrous if Orianna died this early, this passively into the 1v1.
Yeah, but the same goes for Psycho. He fell really, really far, really, really low, and Metaconda still has Ignite.
The level up going to provide a little bit of help. Ooh, that Ari almost providing enough damage for Dust Legend to get the kill. Psycho's
yeah, the lanes are really going well for the side of Big Pythons. I don't really think I expected Zoko and Metaconda to have this much pressure against the Swain Sona this early, but hey, you know, it's only level 2. Let's wait until they're level 3 or 4 before we really make a judgment call there. Yeah. Meanwhile, on the top side, Lowlife is going to be pushed off this lane. In this matchup, things are different. Volibear will definitely have the advantage. He's able to get true damage off with his double W. The shield itself protects himself from any damage, so a definite winning matchup for Angry Pickler. I am really, really curious to see how this man... Oh, no.
Whoa.
Okay, thank God he didn't take another turret shot.
Yeah, here's a Kane coming around, though. Lowlife is just more than happy to bait this through. A flash would be enough.
You know
Angry,
Kane's there.
Don't flash. You're always going to die. There's no chance you live. A stun buys him a little bit of time, but he's just going to die. Kane would love to get this first blood. Give it to the Kane. Huge Abby here. Now he might potentially go down. This is a 2v2. Virgil does like the win in this. Lowlife, you should definitely come down here and help. Flash forward. They could be able to turn this. Virgil.
Alby's desperate. Alby's feeling a little desperate.
Yeah, I don't understand why Lowlife didn't immediately come down there and start to help a little bit more. I mean, Kane potentially getting a double cure is absolutely worth any kind of extra damage you might want to take. Ace's not going to get involved. A missed opportunity, I think, there from Psychosis. I think they're just a little bit worried unnecessarily. So, Metaconda, though, taking quite a bit of damage. Was not able to get the repull on the roof, though, so Psychosis will instead have to retreat underneath the turret. Antibiotics also not having fun in this mid lane.
Yeah, he's not having fun in the mid lane, but it's just like a big mistake that really should not happen. The Big Python spotted that that Virgil started bot side, so they knew that Virgil was still on his top camps. And yet, Angry Pickler decided to stand all the way up, almost near the tower, almost took a tower shot, and then stayed there, even though he knew that Virgil was nearby on Kane, a champion that can go over that wall pretty easily. And it feels like a massive misplay that probably was communicated earlier, and if it wasn't, there are bigger problems at play.
No, I fully agree. If they knew exactly where he was, then they should have seen that play coming. I think that might be one of the things that, if they end up with this game off of some of the early pressure that Kane's able to get, then they'll, I think, come to regret that. But we'll have to see how that play develops because it's only 1 kill. It's just a little bit of gold right now. And Lowlife still kind of getting pressured out of this lane. He only has 16 CS. This is really not where he wants to be. And Pickler is just going to conceivably have control of this lane for the next while until maybe there's a regank. Pings this time, though, going down on top of the Kane, so at least they know that he's there. And shouldn't be happening a second time, although Angry Pickler did use both of the summons to go back into the lane. I think also, like, at that point when the game is wrapped around on you, I feel like you should never be blowing that flash because you know you're going to go down. The movement speed and the movement capability that Kane has, like, just accept that you're going to die, hold on to that summoner. Try and see if you can trade for something, but ultimately, like, you're going to die. You don't have help. It's a really long lane to go. They're going to catch you. And we've seen that a couple times throughout these different series today. Reborn's going to completely dodge the Manacon. Jump up. Virgil's here again. Now, they pinged him earlier. You should still know that he might make his way up there. They likely know that there's a ward. Oh, the silence, though. Psycho going to drop it. Meanwhile, on the top side, the Ornhorn was committed to try and knock down Angry Pickler. He's going to try and get free. And Virgil able to follow up. No ult for the Kane if there was. Oh, the ultimate committed to Antibiotics. Is going to manage to get underneath the turret. Abby here not going to land the Q. Antibiotics trying to walk out from underneath this. It's 1-1 in kills so far. Oh, Bing's coming down. Kane would like to get involved. Antibiotics needs to be really, really, really careful because they don't want to die right now. Kane Wants to see what else he can get going. Swain, Vision of Empires, will tag on to multiple people. This dragon should be going down. I don't think that Virgil can really do anything. And yeah, that Drake will just go.
But that's Legends is an awkward. Okay, he's just gonna fly over the wall.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the top side, there is still a farm lead for the side of the Volibear. We would expect that to happen. The 1v1 matchup is still pretty brutal. That being said, I see a mana crystal, or not mana crystal, a tier built for Angry, which signals that he might want to go for Fimbulwinter. But he's also got a longsword, or not longsword, a dagger.
Dagger.
And a glowing moat. So the glowing moat, the dagger, and the ruby crystal signal Dusk and Dawn to me, which is the correct item for the Volibear. But then there's the tier, which signals that maybe he goes Fimbulwinter's second item, or maybe that's just to help him sustain some damage. Pickler's going for this plate, but he's losing so much health doing so. Not really sure if that's worth it.
Well, they know that the Kane should still be bot side, so it's not the most risky play, and he knows that Ornn doesn't really have any execution capability. Also, Oriana's not going to be able to run for a while as Reborn. Going to be disrespectful and stop the back. It's not going to be able to stop the Cho'Gath back, but they'll be happy with that. They'll be able to pick some plate. Manaconda stopped his own back. Not really sure why. This plate will always go down. You might as well just back and get some resources for it. No jungler in the area. Wasn't worth it to stop. And Psycho and Reborn Navy can even potentially grab a second plate if they're smart about this. As Psycho going to grab up Zoko. Do not dive this. Not a great idea. As Manaconda can silence you, that would be very, very awkward if you're trying to get underneath the turret. So they will instead just opt to take some minions. And outside of the one kill that happened down to that bot side, Psycho and Reborn, I think they're okay with the state of the game. It just things feel really weird, really tentative right now between these two teams.
Yeah, it seems like no team wants to really start pulling the trigger. There's not really a clear game plan of what sides of the map you want to play towards. That being said, Bridgel is more than happy with just farming it out as Kane in the jungle. A nice ultimate used by antibiotics to try to stay the... you do not want to stay in that fight.
No, you don't want to stay in that fight for very long. Now, Virgil is here. This is 3 strong from the side of TBP. This would, I think, not be a wise decision to try and contest this. Yes, it does. Yeah, it sucks to have to give over this the second objective, but really not worth fighting. Virgil, I don't know why you're hanging around, dude. Like, there's nothing here for you. Antibiotics can't really help you. Ornn also not in a position to really do anything about this. Right now, they're just kind of passively losing across the map. But I think that they need to be content with just not losing more in terms of, like, actual kills and stuff like that. Just be fine with passively farming and get your items and stuff up. Lowlight feels it's going to be a while before he's going to be a really, really effective champion in terms of getting those ornaments. So, you know, Psychosis, they need to be patient.
Yeah, they need to be patient. They need to wait this game out. The longer it goes, the stronger that the Kane will get. Not to mention that they've got the ornaments on standby. Some crazy damage coming out from Lowlife, able to win that trade quite handedly without any retaliation from Angry Pickler.
Well, it helps when Angry Pickler stands right next to the wall, and then you're just able to headbutt the wall and get that passive knockup as Angler.
100%.
You know, it's like I'm going to walk this way, and also you should definitely stand by that wall. Oh, there's the knockup.
Okay, man.
This shouldn't be a kill. Angry Pickler has the ultimate. He's going to go over, force to flash. Lowlife doesn't have any more mana. That's a little embarrassing, I'm not going to lie. The fact that you are being solidly out-traded by an Ornn that has less experience and less money. Yeah, this is going to start to be a problem. Ooh, that's the Shockwave committed. Virgil potentially might like to get involved.
To be fair, I don't know if he just leveled, but Lowlife is level 9. That being said, like, Angry Pickler used the...
nice flash. Well done, antibiotics.
He used the Storm Call on the minion wave to try and clear it, but didn't mind diving onto Lowlife at the same time. So Lowlife just simply waits for the shield to dissipate and then just kicks his ass. And that's pretty much how it's going to go until, you know, Angry Pickler gets his Dawn and Dusk. Now, once he gets his Dawn and Dusk, I think that the damage portfolio is going to heavily shift. I think that that is such a strong item on the Volibear that he will eventually start just absolutely destroying the Ornn in the lane. So we will have to see what happens once he gets that item.
I want to point out that Psycho and Reborn have done a really, really good job in kind of stabilizing this bottom lane. You know, they haven't really under too much threat. Alvi here hasn't really had a chance to go down there and affect the lane much other than just being around to collect dragons. So, I mean, not the worst state. Virgil wants to get involved on top of this Aesol. chunking him out, but obviously not in kill range. Angry Pickler, like you pointed out earlier, willing to sacrifice his health bar to try and get plates. And maybe that's working a little bit, but also it's inviting disaster. But Psychosis is going to be in a great position to get the second dragon, so at least they won't be able to start stacking that dragon.
No TP for the side of Psychosis, but they've got TP on the side of Angry Pickler. I don't think it's going to end up mattering. I think they're going to get this dragon without any fight.
Well, Manaconda's here. They want to try and do something. Remember that they have the dual, essentially, Smite threat. Oh, it steals it in front of 5 people, but he's going to sacrifice his life to do it. And now Virgil, they can look to get some kills, though. Albie here wants to try and get away, is going to act... sorry, I forgot the name of his ultimate just there for a second, but Reborn, massive stun onto 2. They want to try and get this Ace, the gravity well, at least holding them in place just for a moment. It's only 1 dead. They managed to grab a second dragon, and yeah, that's the one thing that you get with having Metaconda on that Cho'Gath, the fact that you essentially get 2 smites. And I don't think that they did enough really to stop him getting into that dragon pit, to be honest with you. They should have been way more proactive with that.
Yeah, you will be pretty happy with that if you're on the side of Big Pythons. You will trade that any day of the week. Your support death for the Dragon Take. It really puts you into a good position. That being said, Psycho, how many stacks of Ravenous Flock does he have? I'm actually going to check right now.
I'm not sure, but they're about to be very dead. Yeah, he's about to be very dead is what's about to happen. Just trying to buy a little bit of time with Zoko. Reborn going to manage to get underneath the turret. Just as I was praising them for being very, very good in that bot side, they immediately overforced their hand. And that's just not what you want to see.
Yeah, but Manaconda gets the kill.
Pickler is just going to kill, or get killed, sorry, rather, by Low Life Feels. That Ornn is absolutely dominating that matchup. That's, I'm going to say embarrassing, but that's definitely not what you want to see, Virgil.
Yeah, he stuck around with like 3 bars of health and just gets absolutely clapped. I'm not really sure what happened there.
All right, I owe Manaconda an apology because this Cho'Gath is absolutely getting way more done than I thought it would. Managed to knock up and silence Virgil, where he couldn't actually get access to that ultimate and get a little bit of safety, and then just devoured him. So, Manaconda, my apologies. I was not familiar with your game.
Yeah, Manaconda on the AP Cho'Gath is never something to be, scoffed at. He does know how to pilot that champion pretty well. Does know how to do a lot of damage with it. The AP Cho'Gath, I'm glad he's actually opting into that option. I don't think that going tank really would make sense. You do really want to do as much damage as possible with a knock-up Nom Nom, and it especially will make sense once he starts catching Ornn off duty, because if he can actually Nom Ornn and get him down to half health on one ability, that is a really good opener for your Jinx to kill the front line and actually work front to back.
This Ornn's been doing a really
top side.
Yeah, this Ornn's been doing a really, really good job of keeping the Volley Bear in check. And the Pickler, I think, maybe perhaps getting a little bit frustrated the fact that he's down 0-2 in that matchup. This is a full gank, though, onto the bot side, potentially a knock-up, but there was a momentary grab. Psychosis in the ultimate, sorry, Psycho in the ultimate, but he's in the bouncing castle, nowhere he can go. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, Antibiotics dead yet again to that Ace Soul. And the Picker, he's going to get knocked up. Low life continuing to stack. Virgil's here. This is something that they want to get. Angry Picker will be able to use the ultimate, but he used it after. The Ornn Horn did get slowed to Virgil. This should just be his first kill. Meanwhile, on the bot side, though, they are going to trade it for the Sona. And 7-4 in kills. TBP, they're well in control of this game.
Big Python's in control of this game, but at the same time, they lose out on the top side. Ornn is starting to run away with his top lane. He's got nearly a 500 gold advantage, and he's also giving plenty of the kills over to Kayn, so Kayn benefiting from this matchup just as much. And the mid lane, though, Albie getting a little bit off his rocker there and getting taken down by Antibiotics on the Orianna and able to get a kill for himself and mitigate some of this gold lead that was built up for him and Dusk Legends. That being said, Dusk Legends still up 677 gold. That is a sizable difference. That's a half an item there, or a portion of your item. That being said, though, it feels really good as Antibiotics to actually get a kill back and somehow stem the bleeding.
Yeah, and Psychosis needs to remember that they have a scaling comp. Yes, so does Asol, or so does TBP with the Asol and with the Cho'Gath, but they have to remember that they also have some level of scaling both with the Orianna and with the Swain. And now the one thing I am worried about, though, is where the consistency of their damage is going to come from, because outside of the Ori and possibly the Kayn, Swain will be able to do passively do damage, but he's more of in a bruiser, he's kind of tanky role.
He's not in a position where he's going to be able to do that. He's 0-3 right now.
Psychosis, though, they want to find something. Angry Pickler getting heavily damaged. Virgil wants to avoid getting killed, though. Ooh, Psychosis right now, they're starting to get the better of this team fight. Asol is here, though. He wants to see if he can get involved, wants to throw out the Grand Starfall. 4,000 health available on this Rift Herald. They want to keep Anaconda away from it. They want to try to time this really, really well. He's going to get silenced. Virgil's the first to go. He got inside the Cho'Gath. Now he's dead. That threat is gone. Angry Pickle on the backside. Grand Starfall will stop one. Can they manage to get the volley bear? They do. But Zoko on the backside as the Jinx is going to start to stack the kills. 8th soul for the next one. Antibiotics manages to get away, but it's a double kill for Dust Legends. Double kill for the Jinx. A team fight win for TBP, and they are going to go get that dragon.
100%. They're going to mitigate all of the damage that was done right before that team fight, win the team fight itself, and get Jinx inside at the very end. And Jinx is going to get another kill, propelling her to 4-0-4. Zoko absolutely popping off in this champion today, getting in the correct position every single time. That last team fight was a masterclass, and it's going to result in not only a take of the Rift Herald, but also a take... Oh, no, they didn't take the Rift Herald. It's going to result in a take of the Dragon, though, and they might reposition to take the Rift Herald soon thereafter.
3 dragons to their name means that they are in a very, very good spot to start contesting across this rift. And right now, TBP, they're putting themselves in a position to tie up this series and potentially force us to a bare minimum 4 games. Low life. Has to be said, though, he's done a really, really good job at managing Angry Pickler. And I think overall, like, if they can find a way to get these tournaments online, there's a possibility that Psychosis can start to fight back in. But the problem you have right now is that Dust Legends and Zoko doing a tremendous amount. Angry Pickler really, I think, going to start to get frustrated on this volley bear. He's going to drop yet again. I'd like to see the...
Yeah, he doesn't have the lead that you would normally have in this matchup. He's basically... Ornn is basically just allowing...
the ping's coming down.
Oh, this might be a kill.
Virgil, he's going to get silenced and knocked up. They want to try and devour him, and in fact, they do. Albie actually is the first one to get here. There's a teleport,
but
this may just be...
kill him if they teleport.
Yeah, this is a teleport to the death. Unfortunately, Antibiotics here on the wrong end of this trade. Reborn can only watch as the Ornn is sent to the bouncy castle. A little bit of vindication for the volley bears. Antibiotics underneath the turret. Super Mega Death Rocket goes a little bit wide, but it just doesn't matter. TBP, they're in control of this game. They're in control of the river. They're pinging towards the Herald, and it is most certainly going to be theirs.
Yes, and Angry Pickler now pushing out that side lane, so going to create some pressure that hopefully will pull Swain off of the mid side, and it does. I don't expect Swain to actually answer the top side or the bottom side, but Angry Pickler thinking that he can take away this blue buff. I wonder if the team sees this. No, they're going to call that off. No, he's going to stay. He's going to try to take this blue buff. See if he actually ends up getting it here.
Nothing is sacred here for Psychosis. They are getting contested on just about everything.
Yeah, they were able to push them off, but at what cost? They end up losing the top side for it, the top lane for it, rather.
Absolutely. This is just, well, I also think there's very little that they can do to actually defend it just with, not only the respawn timers, but then having to run out, and the fact that Dust Legends is just really difficult to lock down. 4-0-4 in this ASOL, performing really, really well. I guess the consolation prize for Psychosis will be that a number of these champions are going to be off the board, so you don't really have to worry about them again, but also that means you got to find something else to do with your draft. So TBP, they're really in control of this game. It would kind of take a lot for them to start to lose it from this point. Still a lot of work to be done, though. Low Life Fields will start to add ornaments and potentially look to turn some of this around. But TBP, if they keep playing the way they're playing right now, they're well on their way to a win.
Yeah, it becomes a lot harder for this Kayn to do what he wants to do in the late game unless the team mispositioned or Zoko finds himself near a wall in which Kayn has been hiding within and he gets assassinated in the backline. Otherwise, Zoko is very, very safe in this backline. There's no targets on the side of Psychosis that can actually dive him besides the Kayn. So in my mind, if you're Zoko, you are telling the team, if we don't know where Kayn is, we cannot fight. If we do, we can, and if we fight, you guys need to control this guy so I can pop off.
The real big factor, I think, of these team fights is going to continue to be Dust Legends. He's well on his way to stacking. 20 minutes, got 249, so he's going to feel really good about that. And I think the question, Black Mage, for me is, like, for Psychosis, where are you going to try and make these plays? Because you're already significantly behind in Dragon stacking. You're losing gold passively throughout the map. You don't really have any champions that are in a winning state. You're super reliant on the dive from the Kayn to get the damage going. And yes, while that looks good in the beginning of draft, it's really starting to struggle. The only thing that's really going well for you is the fact that you can kind of just kill Angry Pickler whatever you want on this volley bear. But outside of that...
Yeah, it's really, to me, it comes down to this bot lane. I don't think that the Swain and Sona combo really ended up panning out the way you thought it would. It didn't really give them any advantages in lane. He didn't seem to be able to stack as many of... Oh, man.
Gonna flash out. Grand Starfall not committed yet. Was temporarily grabbed. Multiple members of Psychosis gonna respond to this. Dragon spawning in about 50 seconds. What can TBP do to get a pick and make this just a little bit easier? Right now, Psychosis being choked absolutely out of the jungle. They have really nowhere to go. On the bot side, Angry Pickler continues to push the waves in towards that turret. And this is really, really hard. You have to kill two members. You have to kill the jungler and you have to kill the Cho'Gath. The support, you guys are going to offer that up. It's a knock-up right now. Virgil wants to try and get across. He's going to get pulled in. Manages to go into the ultimate. Wants to try and flash over the wall. He's going to live for now, but not a lot invested to get him low. And now Psychosis, you're going to have to choose. You're going to have to choose whether or not you want to give up this bot lane tower, whether or not you want to give up this drag. You can't have both.
Angry Pickler's going to walk this Herald over to the bot side tower.
Yep. And Psycho going to try and do something to mitigate that. Oh, no, he's actually going to turn it around.
Oh, no.
Not sure where he really wanted to go with that one. I think that was a little bit of a misplay, but Psychosis no closer to getting towards no closer to Dragon. They got to do something. They got to get in, and they're starting to passively kill that Dragon. They don't have 5 members there. Smite was early, and now it's gone. Ornhorn going to be committed. They're going to try and lead the fight and not disengage. TBP, what do you want to do? They're kind of hovering around in this wave. Both teams are kind of looking at each other like, now what? Psycho going to speed forward just a little bit. Dust Legends going to get caught off there in the end. Virgil is going to get straight sent to the bouncy castle and into the gray screen. Grand Starfall on top of multiple people. Zoko starting to go berserk, starting to put the rockets down into the multiple members of Psychosis. That's a double kill for Albi here, and they can only run and try and survive. Reborn, the next to fall. An ace for Psychosis. Zoko going to be feeling amazing. They're going to go straight towards the Baron.
1000% great play call by Big Pythons to just go ahead and take the Dragon and back up as a solid unit through that bot jungle. The only way they knew they could actually get collapsed on would be if that Kayn came over the wall. So they were actually prepared for it. As soon as he appeared, they immediately collapsed on him, used their CC, killed him almost immediately, and that prompted Zoko to get excited and really start taking over that team fight.
Absolutely. And they have not had an answer for this Jinx really all game, and even despite how badly some of the top lane stuff has gone, Angry Pickler has done enough to set that team up, or set his team up for success. He is going to die in that top lane yet again, but I'll be honest, TBP really don't care. They're getting everything they want.
Yeah, they don't care.
Dust Legends is just going to zippity-zoop on out of here. He's in absolutely no danger from anybody. He's going to take that empowered recall. And they will not be able to catch him. And TBP, they have all the tools that they need to close this game out. They've got Psychosis right where they want them. They have the ability to close out this game. Now it's just a matter of using all those pieces.
100%. And at this point, you just start prepping the wave for Baron. Or the wave's already pushing for your Baron. I think you reset, you go straight to this Baron. Or if they reset right now, Psychosis might make the call to just take the Baron immediately right from under them. Here's the thing, though. Psychosis has a very slow Baron take. Very slow. They cannot take this Baron by themselves. It will take years for them to get through it. And I think that Big Pythons is... Okay, they're full clearing before the Baron take, which is a little bit suspect, but... I guess they feel like maybe they need more core items?
I'm not sure. I think they don't want to mess up this potential to even up the series. I think they know that there's still some level of danger that Psychosis poses to them, but it's almost a 10,000 gold lead, so at some point you got to make the decision to start fighting. But nothing is sacred in this bottom side jungle. Is Dust Legends.
They're pinging it.
Yeah, I mean, it should be safe to do this. There's really no way that Psychosis can fight them on this. They're going to try to kill Dust Legends and at least deny the scaling fear on the type of this on top of the Arel Sail, which is what they should have been doing from the beginning. Now they got to run all the way down towards, or run all the way top towards the Baron. This is going to be the teleport, or he's going to be here, but this is double smite.
Yeah,
there should be no way that this goes down. Well, I would say primary Baron is not necessarily dead because Zoko was still up. They're going to get the Baron and walk away with it. So yeah,
one of your big damage dealers.
One of your big damage dealers is dead, and it's just a takeaway for them right now. They won't necessarily be able to do too much sieging with it. It's good that they were able to finally kill that Aurelian Soul. It was 5-1 and 8, and just passively farming, which is not what you wanted. Hundreds of stacks now. Low life, you should be fine. Angry, just trying to push out the waves. They want to get something to work around. Ping's coming down on the multiple members of Psychosis though, so they know that TBP knows that they are waiting in the wings. Virgil, this Kayn has been trying to get active, but I think has not really gotten done as much as they would like. But I think this is because TBP's been doing a really good job in pulling multiple members of Psychosis around the map, and so now with the Baron buff, I mean, with everything you need, all the tools, not sure what else you would kind of be waiting for. So looking to see TBP start to put the finishing touches on this game, close out these final structures. Virgil's going to be here. They should be able to lock down Angry Pickler. That momentary lightning stuns, we're not going to get a whole lot. He's going to go down. But this is expensive because meanwhile on the bot side, they are sieging. Every second Angry Pickler lives is a second that they can siege even further. He's eventually going to fall. Now they're going to have to channel the recalls. Meanwhile, though, that bot side turret starting to get destroyed. Metaconda's going to buy a little bit of space for them to start to take the inhibitor. Ornn and Kane backing. Will they get greedy for more? No, they're going to get the inhibitor and walk out.
Yeah, they're able to get the inhibitor and get out of there scot-free. Meanwhile, Angry Pickler does fall in the top lane, but it doesn't really result in anything other than some gold in a little bit of gold in the pockets of Virgil and Low Life Fields. It really looks like there's nothing left for them to really grasp a hold of, but at the same time, I feel like Big Pythons don't really have a strong idea of like how they want to close out this game. They have a 10k gold lead. Just split or just go top and end it.
Yeah. I think they're being a little overly cautious. I think they could probably do a little bit more to put their foot on the gas. But, you know, respect's due. They know that, you know, if you make a mistake, you can allow your opponent back into it. But I think a level of overcaution, though, can be a little deadly because then you start to allow Psychosis to just continue to farm, get more items. Even as I say that, though, Manaconda is at that point now where we talked about if he just chomps Ornn to get him to half health and then potentially set up Zoko. Yeah, we're at that point now. So, but again, like to the point you're making, like I'm not really sure what else you're waiting on. Like you are as strong as you're going to get, basically, unless you're just going to wait for the Cho'Gath to turbo farm. Like you shouldn't even need this Elder. You should be able to just force this now that you have all 5 alive.
100%. If anything, this is dangerous because now you're actually coin flipping the game. Imagine if Psychosis somehow steals this, they could potentially win the fight. I know it's a huge gold lead. This is obviously very unlikely, right, that they win the team fight, but giving them the chance at all is just such a weird decision.
Yeah. And right now, Psychosis, they're trying to balance the best of both worlds. They've got their Ornn in the top side to try and do something about this both. Well, not really both of them have teleport. Only Angry Pickler has teleport. As the knockup's going to be landed on top of Virgil. He's just doing a really, really good job in preventing the jungler from getting anywhere close to it. He's going to get the ultimate.
That's a good teleport.
A lot of summoners being used here. And yeah, that should just be the end here for Psychosis. Grand Starfall is going to be used. Psycho goes down. Redborn and antibiotics to follow. And if this is not enough to end the game, I don't know what will. But yeah, they should just be done here. Low Life is going to land. Show up just long enough to see all of the members of his team die. There's really nothing he can do to cut down this wave. Low Life Field's just slowly going to get damaged. They're probably just going to ignore him. Oh, Blast cones him straight into the middle of the team. They're going to kill him, and they're going to get themselves on the board. TBP, they even up the series 1-1. And it took them a little longer than it probably should have, but they're going to put the finishing touch of this game and blow up the Nexus.
100%. There was a ward placed in that bot lane that was just excellent for mid laners, and it results in a devastating loss for them. Puts Big Pythons right back on the board, and with that surge of energy, especially after the game 1 loss, it's going to give them a ton of confidence moving forward into this series.
Yep. And I think for Psychosis, I think you just try and shake that game off. You had some things that definitely didn't go your way. And look, you're effectively 3-1 against the Team Big Python, so technically still in the win column, which means you can continue to do that. Oh, I do love me a Yunara, and that is a very early time to bring it out, but I think if any time to break it out, it should be now. Try and get yourself a second win in this series. Team Big Pythons, what do they want to respond with?
Yeah, I'm always a big fan. Hey, pull out the picks that you're really comfortable on early on. Really make sure that you get some good games on those, and they respond with the Smolder. I don't really know how that matchup goes. I'm not an AD carry main, but I would imagine that there's a nice bit of safety for the Smolder to be able to farm because of the limited Yunara range.
I can tell you how it goes. What happens is the Smolder gets bullied until he reaches 225 stacks, and if the game's in an even state, he wins. 225, yeah, because 225 is that execution threshold. So once he reaches it, it's a lot easier for him to play the game, and it's going to be even easier when he has counter dive. Diana making sure that they can keep the little dragon safe.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that the lane state would be pretty safe for Smolder as well. Yunara doesn't really have any ability to hop right on top of the Smolder unless Smolder utilizes his fly at the wrong time. And especially with paired with the Janna, I really don't think that you ever have a kill threat onto the Smolder. That being said, obviously they're picking the Janna in response to the Diana. They really don't want any kind of dive threat going onto their AD carry. I wonder if they're going to pair this with even more disengage stage just to get the Yanara online and able to do what she needs to do as they kind of play that front-to-back team fight style. Let's see what they opt to pick here. It should be their jungler.
Yep. But instead they're going to go with the Caston, and they're going to index into a little bit of dive themselves. So this is a little bit of trading back and forth as you got your hands in the air, your head in your hands, and you're not sure what's going on now.
Now I'm really starting to get pissed off, all right? Stop picking these really volatile mid laners without any recourse of what is still on the board. There are plenty of champions that you cannot play Caston into because of what his kit actually brings to the table. That being said, obviously a late game threat, maybe that's what they're trying to go for, but they're gonna have to draft some kind of early to mid game jungler that's going to kind of meld and glue this team together into some sort of cohesive unit, because the theme of the team is really hard to understand, at least from a spectator point of view, whereas the big Pythons have really elected into a pretty straightforward team fighting style. Dive, and let the smolder farm to the point where now you are really strong going into the late game.
Absolutely. Team Big Pythons, so far, their draft, to me, it makes sense for the most part. I don't really know how the Blitzcrank really pairs with the Smolder that well. That's really not a pairing I've seen hardly at all. Diana obviously needs no introduction. She could go mid lane or the jungle. Interested to see whether or not they drafted the Caston and thinking that it was going to fight the Diana. I don't really know how that matchup goes. I've never seen Caston versus Diana. I don't think Team Pythons has either. So interested to see what they'll do with it. But the Zed coming out here, opening up some play. We haven't seen an AD mid. We haven't seen an AD for a little while. Caston would have a very hard time locking down the Zed. And yep, you talked about being open to some vulnerabilities. And Team Big Pythons, they want to open up a big one.
Yeah, Zed is excellent into Caston and absolutely craps on him all game. Even in the late game, a good Zed can blow up Caston before he even knows what happened. And yeah, now you've got also a very mobile mid laner that can follow the roaming Caston around if that is their plan. I like the Evelynn here. I think the Evelynn does make a lot of sense. It does allow you to kind of bait a lot, Zed into a false sense of insecurity. Maybe he dashes forward, uses his Shadow Clone to do some damage on Caston, not understanding that Evelynn is in the wayside, waiting for him to return. And now it really starts to make sense. The Shen kind of was the glue I was looking for. You have the classic yellow submarine combo. The Shen ults onto the Evelynn. Evelynn, because she's almost constantly in stealth, does not give away that positioning until it's too late, and now you've got a Shen right on top of your face.
You want to hear my high-level analysis of this Psychosis draft?
Let me hear it.
There's a lot of purple on that team.
There's a lot of purple, and it's giving me...
And it's triggering
It's giving me Psychosis looking at it.
I don't like this purple, Dave. Team of Pythons, what are they going to put in that top side is potentially going to be the Gragas. Ooh, so a much different departure from the drafts that we've been seeing, where there are a lot less meatballs in this game. A long day for both these teams. They've been waiting for one another the second time this tournament that they have played each other, and a long way to go. No matter what, no matter who wins there, this potentially this fourth game will be one hell of a ride. But right now we're in for this game, and TBP, they want to see if they can get something early going. Flash forward is going to force out the hook and the flash for the Caston. That's really not that influential though, unless they can regank prior to level 6, because then once he gets access to the blink, he will be able to get himself to safety. But it is still nice to have that early summoner down.
Tell you what, it's really strong when you're playing Zed with Ignite and there's no ability for Caston to get away from your clone. We need to be watching to see how quick... Oh, no, they're invading.
No. Yeah, Virgil, this is really not good. They're going to make sure that they kill this jungler early. Flash over the wall, ignited, manages to get to safety. Was caught invading, though, so we'll be lucky just to live. Antibiotics going to have to walk out of this one. And great call by TBP to send multiple people to answer to that. And, yeah, Virgil, he's going to be very, very upset. There's 2 flashes blown in about a minute time.
Yeah, I am surprised that Albie here didn't just immediately follow him and flash over the wall after him, because if they end up killing Virgil, you take his top side, and that Evelyn is like almost permanently behind the entire game. But elects obviously to play a little bit more safe, which is understandable given that you're in a 1-1 situation. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Dusk Legends is going to have a field day. Casting with no flash means that you cannot approach this wave. It doesn't matter about your Q, because guess what? That's magic resistance. That's resisting magic damage shield. That's not resisting the physical damage that Zed's going to be dealing.
Absolutely. And interesting. Ooh, as Menaconda going to land the Q and that bottom side. Zoko following up with a little bit of damage. And really already the early steps for Psychosis not going their way. Multiple flashes bone. Evelyn going to be behind. Not necessarily that she's losing camps, but rather in tempo, so that means she's not going to be super effective at getting around the map. Also doesn't have flash to follow up in any early plays, so she's caught out once again. It's going to be rough. And Evelyn is definitely one of those Feast or Famine champions, so... Oh, Menaconda. Is he going to hook the Yunara? Yes, because there's a ward. Zoko's going to be able to get over. That's the flash expended as well. Exhaust on off just to get a little damage. Heal committed. Zoko going to pop barrier. Will they be able to get the first blood? Yes, Yunara gets a Psycho trying to run. Throwing in a couple auto attacks. Psychosis is happy to just get out with that, honestly. And that's a miracle, a godsend for them even to get that.
Yeah, if anyone was watching closely there, it looked like Manny was trying to donate the kill over to Zoko, but because he managed to actually wait too long, Psycho was able to position in a way where he got close enough to actually kill Zoko because he was holding on to his barrier, or to his flash rather, and so I feel like that might have been a blunder. I feel like Menaconda should have just taken the kill there and prevented Zoko from possibly dying. Meanwhile, on the top side, Angry Pickler, I think, is just playing a little bit too closely into this minion wave and just keeps getting taunted and 3-shot by low life feels. Shen is one of those champions where you really need to respect the melee engage, and you know, if you don't, he's gonna chunk you out. So bit of a rough start for Angry, but the good news is that he does not die there, able to get back into the lane. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, this is a rough lane, and he's going to get pulled over the wall.
Antibiotics going to get slain by Menaconda. And I was going to make the point about how Angry Pickler might still be having some of those frustrations from that second game. Even though they did win, he was very, very heavily focused and had a difficult time of it. But, yeah, right now 2 kills going over to TBP. Already starting to build up a little bit of a gold lead. This Blitzcrank getting a tremendous amount of value. And I guess the one thing that we didn't talk about was the fact that we were focusing really more on the peel for this boulder, which I think is still very, very important. But I think the other thing we didn't talk about was just the sheer amount of roam capability that the Blitzcrank has, and just disrupting plays and making things uncomfortable for multiple members of Psychosis. And, you know, while he will have to go back and forth and try and eventually catch up on his questing, in the long run, like, the value that they're getting just from the kills alone is very good, so...
It's very good, and I also do want to harp back on to the jungler difference right now. You know, you've got Diana sitting at 19 farm lead, a 330 gold lead, simply based off of minions alone, just because of the amount of damage that they were able to do at level 1. That's going to feel really good going into this mid game, because now it pretty much forces Evelyn to really look in strange areas to try and get some resemblance of a kill or a gank off. That item difference is going to spell disaster for her until they can somehow get something moving and get her back in the game. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Dusk Legends, like I said, is just having the grandest time here. He does not have anything to worry about. Got the cauliflowers. I always call it the cauliflower warhammer. Able to do some damage and keep Cassidy almost permanently off this wave. We will see that CS lead improve, I swear to you, especially once he starts getting some armor pen.
Yeah, Antibiotics going to be hard-pressed to kind of keep just things even in the mid lane. And, you know, in the first game did a very good job in utilizing that Malzahar, but has struggled since the last game, especially with the Orianna. Didn't have a great game. And now is at the end of a losing matchup 100%, where he's going to be super vulnerable to the Zed, who can kind of dive him with impunity really at any given point, and with very little ability for Antibiotics to actually follow. So... Gonna look to keep an eye on the mid lane. I think also, like, Antibiotics, just from all the games that we've seen so far today, has really struggled in this mid lane matchup, hasn't been able to get the priority he's wanted, and has kind of been at the mercy of getting help from the rest of his team. And so I think for the name of the game for him is just to survive, you know, passively try to get some more of his items. Once he starts to get the bits that he's hitting for his Rod of Ages, it'll feel a little bit better, but that is certainly an item point that is very, very far away.
Well, yeah, but they're, you know, that's the thing, is it's almost like their own fault. They're not banning the champions that you need to ban, and you're first picking champions when you have no right to do so, and they're getting punished because of it, and we might just see him fall again here. This is going to be so sad if he
Underneath
does.
the turret. Oh no, Dust Legends dies. Antibiotics with the Stand United manages to outplay it. He got lucky that Shin ticked over to level 6. What a fantastic play. Ooh, a lock committed by Dustborn to try and get that low left field, so he needs to get his way out of this one. He has access to the flash, can come over the wall, and will do so. Double flash, that's going to be the moon call done by Angry here. Angry Pickler throwing out the cask, and he will die. He saves the mid laner, but sacrifices his own life.
Yeah, at least you make up for in the top lane, able to take down low life fields, but meanwhile on the bot side, they're going to turn that into a dragon take, knowing that Albie here has positioned himself towards that top side of the map. Man, look at the cleanse, careful. Look at the moves, but in the opposite direction for Antibiotics. He's able to get a pick there, or kill there because of the channels.
Virgil doesn't have, doesn't have access to the ult, so was forced to flash over that red pit. Zoko, meanwhile, on the opposite end of this trade, Reborn and Psycho need to get the way out of this one. Zoko's going to call Mom. Reborn might potentially be the next sacrificial lamb here. Manaconda wants to land the hook if he can. This is going to be a big flash for Reborn. Oh, Minister managed to land the hook. Flash out. Should have hooked. Should have flashed out way sooner. Psycho, he wants to try and land one more auto on top of Manaconda. Will get that shutdown. Antibiotics trying to get on top of Zoko. Does he have the damage? One more ult would do it. Trying to get the full combo out, but not yet able. Oh, Antibiotics. How far does he want to chase this Zoko? Does he believe that Antibiotics won't chase him? He's going to go into that brush. And yeah, back all the way underneath the turret. And an extended team fight by Psychosis. They're not too upset with that. Got the dragon, got a couple of kills, but Dust Legends time alone with that turret in the mid lane.
Yeah, the Dusk Legends able to get some a nice little bit of CS lead and some plates because of the fact that Antibiotics went ahead and roamed over. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Manaconda does end up getting that hook, and you were 100% on the money. Janna did not elect to use flash earlier, which is just kind of silly to me. She was always at max range. You could just flash in any direction, really, earlier than that, and you pretty much avoid getting hooked. But, alas, greed swallows Janna's pride, and at that point you just immediately end up going down. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Dusk Legends trying to get some damage down onto Antibiotics, but Antibiotics does a nice little dodge and gets some more damage down on him instead. Angry Pickler's in a bad position here.
Yep, he's going to die. That cask provides just a little bit of space, but Evelyn getting all the damage that they need. This composition started to come online for Psychosis, getting what they wanted done. They're going to have access to these grubs, but the health bar is a little bit in a precarious spot. Reborn wants to try and find the right weight. Now, most importantly, Manaconda is not level 6. He is going to hook the Janna. Can they get the Monsoon off? Yes, buys a little bit of space. The auto attack's not enough there. Reborn somehow lives. That's going to be the moon call down there from Abby here, but this is a man disadvantage of Antibiotics. Needs to try and use the ultimate to get out. Not sure what he's waiting for. Psychosis is going to send Zoko down to the bot side. This is just team finding wins on the board for Psychosis. 8 and 5, a 1,000 gold lead, and they will start to get these grubs. Reborn and company doing so much work, and the Zen pick that we were praising at the beginning starting to not work out here for TBP is 0 and 2 and has not accomplished much of anything.
Yeah, hasn't accomplished much of anything. That being said, he does still have a little bit of a goal, 500 gold lead, 400 gold lead rather.
Oh no, Angry Pickler, he has no ultimate. He has no way to get out of this one.
Do not donate another kill to the...
Oh, Chandler wants to try and get away. Dusk instead going to throw a couple blades just to back him off, but that looked precarious for a moment.
100%. Yeah, do whatever you can. Just don't donate any more kills to this damn mid laner. You know that if he just is, if you're able to starve out the Kassadin and not allow him to get these easy kills in the side lanes, that he's gonna get eventually destroyed by Dusk Legends once he gets 2 or 3 items. But instead, they seem to be playing kind of recklessly, knowing that Kassadin's roaming, and they end up getting picked off for it. That jungle play was a key aspect of that. You didn't have 4 members ready to fight, so at that point, you cannot be fighting into a Kassadin that has his ultimate available.
Well, and not only that too, but then like if you look at the bot side, the fact that Psycho is just out, like straight up out dueling Zoko down there, and just in the straight up 1v1 is massive for that potential matchup, especially as the Smolder is trying to scale. 10 minutes into the game, has 87 stacks, so he has a very, very long way to go before he's going to reach that that breaking point where he's going to be super dangerous and gets the execute. Ping's coming down. They really want to make a play towards these grubs and try and get this objective. They already have the early dragon. The next one spawning in about a minute's time. Virgil will have been spotted, walking across some of that vision. So Angry Pickler should know that he's coming up there. No pings on it just yet. The Psycho jumping forward. Wants to try and see if he can get some damage on Zoko. Forced to get away. Empowered Q. Menaconda making his way back up here, so both of these teams recognizing that there's potential plays to be made around this neutral objective. Psycho just permanently pushing Zoko off the wave underneath the turret. Well.
Yeah, permanently pushing him off the turret. Psycho is definitely taking advantage of this 1v1 matchup, playing the range game very effectively and showing why.
Hook on antibiotics. That's going to be the stand united, but it's not fast. He just immediately gets deleted. Will they be able to get this Blitzcrank? Tornado going to buy a little bit of space. That's going to be the ultimate committed from Dust Legends. Will Birch will be able to get out. No further damage. Goes underneath the turret. Back the opposite direction. Takes Dusk all the way. Virgil should just be able to walk out. This Zen has really been struggling. Got a kill, but it wasn't one that he earned. It was more or less donated. And Virgil going to start to walk out and start to slowly regen as well. Will they start to make a play towards the grubs? Yes, they will. And instead, they'll make a trade for the Dragon on the bot side.
Yeah, the Zed does end up getting the kill. It did require Maniconda to rotate towards the mid lane and end up helping him. But meanwhile, in the bot side, we have a 2.1k gold lead over this Yanara. Psycho playing out of his mind once again and actually opted into the Steel Class boots as his quest item rather than the attack speed, just to help himself with the damage that will eventually come out from both Zoko and Dusk Legends. Now, that being said, it does really only reduce damage from auto attacks, not abilities, so I don't really think it makes too much sense in this scenario, but hey, it's the pick that he went with, and he's got the gold lead, so he knows what he's doing.
Now, here's the nice part for Antibiotics right now in this mid lane is he's kind of stopped the bleeding. Yes, he has a significant CS deficit, but he does already have that Rod of Ages, and he's starting to stack it. So he's getting a little bit more tankiness. It's not direct armor, but it's giving him the life total to kind of avoid the immediate burst from Dust Legends on the Zed. But right now, Psycho, he's going to get grabbed. Now, a lot of that damage missed. Mom didn't really get too much done. Psycho able to turn this around because of the advantage that he has, both with that Kraken Slayer, Antibiotics, getting underneath the turret. Really going to be difficult for Dust Legends to cover this. Not going to be able to get the tail. Dust Legends eats a tower shot. Antibiotics, just that little bit of health that he has from that Rod of Ages, really serving to keep him alive. Dust Legends committing a lot to try and get him. And yes, gets pressure, but doesn't come away with a kill. Virgil. Yeah, Dust Legends has to back all the way underneath the turret.
Yeah. Any player going against a Evelyn. Okay, forces him to back up a little bit more. Any player playing against an Evelyn should know that you really have to be immediately under tower, if not a little bit farther back, because of the fact that she can just kind of jump out of stealth and immediately one-shot you. That being said, how funny would it have been if Low Life Feels had the ultimate available and just did a complete deja vu of that earlier game, or the earlier play, where he just ults and saves Cassidy and ends up killing the Zed? Man, that would have been awesome, but alas, Zed able to get out of there safely. The matchup is really brutal for Cassidy, and it will stay like this the entire game.
Oh, Antibiotics, you're not getting out of this. Does he get out of this one? He can ult again. Oh, but the Q enough to knock him down. Didn't have it quite off cooldown. That's unfortunate.
Fade away.
Yeah, 3-point.
Yeah, the absolute fade away by Albie there. Able to get that kill, and he's going to start positioning towards his top side, but I think he's going... Yeah, no, it's super cool. Albie now going ahead and just take some more camps. He's more than happy to just take that little kill here and there and continue to get more items. He is going towards more of that sustained damage build that we do see in some games from the Dianas. We didn't see it the last time Diana was played today. That was more of a bursty build, but I suspect that we will see Dusk and Dawn in addition to a Nashor's Tooth, which does allow you to do a ton of auto attack damage in the sustained fights. It will allow them to really deal some damage to the Shen, since that is their only front line.
I'm going to make a prediction here, and this is probably a stupid prediction, but I'm going to make it. I think Antibiotics is going to build Fimbulwinter. It's not the worst on him. It's not the worst, and it gives him some protection from the Zed.
I don't think he will go Fimbulwinter yet. I do agree with you, but I think it will be like a fourth
It'll
item.
be, yeah, like third or fourth item. He won't build it yet. He'll try to build something else, but I do think Fimbulwinter is the item he wants to go there, because it's like the main threat that you're under right now is just getting bursted both with AD and then from the Diana, but if you can survive those two things and live long time in a team fight, it looks really good. Low Life is eventually going to get partially stunned. Virgil wants to look to get the charm here, is going to manage to get a jump forward. Cass going to buy him a little bit of space, and now they need to get out of here. Ping's coming down. Diana wants to get involved. I don't know if they know they've seen the Diana yet. They can look to get something done. Stand United as a possibility. Virgil going to ult back the opposite direction. Meanwhile, on the bot side, though, Mom summoned up Abby here, not really able to get much done. Try to get the Lunar Call, but that didn't happen. And now Caston's making his way here. Angry Pickler does have Flash, so shouldn't be under too much threat. Stand United going to be going down on top of Antibiotics. They do want to dive Angry Pickler. They are going to manage to get him. He's going to be donated over to Antibiotics. He's going to feel really good about that, getting kills onto this Cassidon.
Yeah, I will make another prediction that's along the same lines. I think that the next item is obviously going to be the Seraph's Embrace, but immediately after that, I think his third item is going to be a Mana Moon. Yep, a Mana Moon. 100%. Mana Moon will be picked in this game right after. It will be the third item Cassidon gets. I've seen this so many times that Cassidon players, they stack all the mana items.
Well, they can't.
He can't. Winter last.
Can he? I don't know if he can. Can he stack Mana Moon because of the tier? You can only have one tier item.
Yeah. No, you can have multiple.
Can you? I think you can only have one.
I'm pretty sure you can have multiple. I'm almost. I think that was a time where you couldn't, but I think that you can nowadays.
Okay, I may be wrong, but I was almost absolutely positive that, or I say almost absolutely positive. I was almost sure that you could only have the one. It had to be a Fiddle Winter or like the Seraph's Embrace or something like that.
Someone check me.
Yeah, because I think you can only build one item out of tier, but we'll get back to that in just a minute because I'm going to be called over the side of this fight, and Low Life Feels trying to get something done. Albie here, though, does get exhausted. Psycho starting to power up, not able to get the kill yet. It needs to beat a hasty retreat. Zoko flashing forward, wants to get a little bit more damage. Double kill as he blows out, and yeah, that's going to be an absolute ace from the side of TBP. This might be the start of their second win of the series. Might be able to reach a point where they're going to be feeling pretty good about their chances of winning the series. Albie here and Zorko doing a lot. Yep, he's even going to land another hook on top of Antibiotics. He is not long for this world. They're going to chase him down. Trying to see if he can trade at least for something, but the fadeaway is going to knock him down once again.
Yeah, it knocks him down, and, Baggy Pythons, damn it. Big Pythons has a lead in this game, and while it only is 3K, it is a lead indeed. They have the 2 dragons stacked. They're waiting to get the third here in 4 minutes, and if you're on the side of Big Pythons, you are okay with this lead so far. Dusk Legend's getting some nice plates on the bot side. Is it going to be building up the lead on himself? He is up 1.6K. Their jungler's up 2.1K. Top lane is pretty much a wash at this point. You would expect that in such a slow-moving lane. And really, Zoko has done a pretty good job at mitigating what was a 2K gold lead for the side of Psycho down to only 834 gold.
Yeah. So I did check. Yeah, so I was absolutely, well, I'd say absolutely right. I was absolutely sure that it was only tier because I've tried to buy multiple. And yeah, so you are limited to only one tier of the goddess because of the mana flow stacking passive. So right, limits you to only one. But I think that you're right, and that is probably going to be the Seraph's Embrace rather than the Fimbulwinter. Which would make a lot of sense. It just gives him more damage and obviously just more mana. I still think that the Fimbulwinter wouldn't be a terrible item, but I mean, obviously he's going to go Seraph's Embrace.
Can you only build one tier at a time, or one?
No,
tier
you can
item?
only You can only have one tier item.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you can't stack multiple just because of the mana flow passive, right? Limits it to one. So. All right, TBP.
I do know that there are plenty of casters that do build Mana Moon, but yeah, the Amplifying Tome does signal that obviously wants to.
I think the Mana Moon thing is like ones where you see normally with like Ezreal and stuff like that, where that's kind of a really good item for him to build just because of the pack, because it's on hit. But
like Cassidon will build it too, 100%.
Oh, interesting.
And you'll actually build Frozen Heart as well.
Oh, the Frozen Heart totally makes sense. I guess the Mana Mooning also makes sense too because it's on hit damage. So that seems like that's pretty easy to land.
Yeah, no, it is. You get it stacked up pretty quickly. It gives you mana, so that's more AP. Oh. It scales well with your W.
Someone's getting hooked. The question is who? Well, nope. Turns out nobody's going to get hooked, but it's not even going to mana. Anaconda wants to see what he can get done here. As Low Life Feels wants to try and see if he can clear away this wave. Is going to be grabbed momentarily underneath the turret. That did interfere with the Z damage a little bit, though, but not that it matters because there's 5 strong here for the side of TBP. That's going to be the first kill going down. Low Life Feels and Antibiotics forced to beat a hasty retreat, but the hook makes him come right back on in, but they do turn around and slay the Blitzcrank.
So I feel bad for Manny there. He was kind of left to the fishes. He didn't really understand that the rest of the team had turned around to get this tower.
Yeah, but the tower is going to be gone now, and that's going to be the Lunar Call. That's going to be one down. Antibiotics sure to follow, trying to get away, but it's a double kill for the Diana. they're going to be able to knock down that Herald, which was temporarily summoned, and they can start to put some of the finishing touches in this game. As Psycho trying to trade in the mid side to get a little bit of that turret plate and potentially knock that tower down. But right now, TBP, they're absolutely control this game. 5K golded for them, feeling really good.
Yeah, Big Python's really showing us what they're made of. For the second game in a row, they've got a nice little lead built for themselves. That being said, not as much as they did in the first game, but a lead nonetheless. They're able to show why their team fighting power is the way it is. You know, you got with Dusk Legends and Nalby working together to dive along with Angry Pickler over the top. It is very dangerous. Not to mention, Zoko is starting to do a ton of damage with these items that he's built, and it's only going to get worse as he gets more stacks.
Yep, he's getting really, really close. Earlier, we were talking about that he was slowly stacking, but now, talking about stacking, yeah, Dusk Legends is starting to stack bodies. We were calling out the Zed that it wasn't getting too much done earlier, but now he is most certainly online. And as you rightly pointed out, the longer this game goes on, the more that Zoko's going to become a threat. He's getting close to 225, sitting about 189 stacks right now, so a few more minutes and he should be able to reach that as long as he's allowed to farm. Is a little bit under farm though for a Smolder at this point in the game. Almost we're past 22 minutes. He should have probably a little bit more given how much time he's had, but still not doing too badly. And so I feel like this next fight around this dragon is going to be huge for both these teams. For Psychosis, you really want to stop this dragon stacking and put yourself in a position to contest around the map, but they don't really have too many objectives they can fall back to if they lose this one. TBP, if you grab this drag, it gives you the dragon point. It also could force Psychosis to fight you on the next one, and potentially if you win this fight here, you could just win the game. There's Baron's up.
Goonmaster has confirmed you can build more than one tier item.
In a regular game? What?
Yes, I knew it.
I just checked. It says
seen
that you can't.
I've seen it before.
It says that you need
That being said,
it says the unique passive mana flow prevents purchasing multiple tier items simultaneously as the mana charge effect does not stack. Once the Fearless fully stacked and transformed, you cannot purchase another as the restriction applies to upgraded named items.
what is wrong? Someone is overtly wrong.
No, I know if it's a title. I think he's wrong on that one because it's one tier. I've tried to see if I can purchase other ones in the middle of the game, but that's not going to matter right now. Zoko's going to go unstoppable. He's going to clear the Janna right there. Psycho. What else can he do? Wants to try and see if he can get some damage, but there's not a lot going on that they can really turn to them. Metaconda going to knock up the Shen. And the Biotics going to be the next to fall. Zoko absolutely dominating there on that Smolder that's going to continue to chase out the remaining minutes of Psychosis. And that Dragon is just available for them to turn and get. That puts them to drag point, and the Drag Soul is on the plate for them.
Yeah, regardless of who's right or wrong, Big Python's just able to put the hurt onto the side of Psychosis and prevent them from getting another dragon. That's dragon point for them. Dusk Legends just doing a ton of work, making sure that there's never any angle for this Kassadin to actually sneak around and pick off any of their players in the backline. Using that clone so effectively for some zone control and damage. And man, this Zed pick is working masterfully, and it is really punishing this Kassadin for, you know, in my mind, just kind of, I don't know if it's laziness or just a misunderstanding of what opportunities you have and when you can pick certain champions, but it's pretty much a repeat of game one.
Okay, so it looks like maybe I was wrong about the tier. I'm getting conflicting information. I haven't tried to do this in a while, but there's weird... okay, I guess maybe I'm wrong about the tier stacking thing. I thought for sure that I was right, but now I'm getting... this was a change that was made recently that I guess you can stack them, or there's you can only stack one. I don't know, this is confusing. Not important right now, but I guess...
Here's the thing. Regardless of who's correct, we ain't going to see it this game unless this game goes for a damn hour long, okay? Because look at the items right now built for Kassadin. He is still working towards that hourglass and only has 130 farm. We are not seeing any items in this Kassadin for a long time.
No, we're not. And I mean, Kassadin's still slowly trying to get the rest of his build online. Has fallen massively behind it, trying the farm duty hasn't had a really chance to get out and get some of that CS, and it's really going to start to hurt him as he tries to get this. That's going to be a Nita Sidlar Broad added to the mix here. And more importantly than tears than anything else, that's the tears that Psychosis will surely be shedding if they can't find a way to get back in this game. TBP, they've got a really good chokehold on this game right now. They're stacking their Infernal Soul. They will be only a couple minutes away from getting that. Baron is on the plate potentially for them if they could win. And the team fight, I don't think they want to take it just yet. They'd like to see if they can get a little bit more, perhaps bait members of the Psychosis to run in. and think they're checking it. Oh, but they do see Virgil. They'd like to get him. Zoko is going to get revealed, though. Stepping forward. Tourney going to buy a little time. Psycho, though, is going to put down the exhaust on top of Dust Legends. That Monsoon buying quite a bit of time, and the Stand United invested as well.
Virgil, he is on the outskirts, and they have not spotted him yet.
They want to try and get Ali here if they can. They want to make this an easy contest. Gragas pushing those waves in the top side, but not so concerned about that. And a Bionic stepping forward. Ali here wants to try and land a multi-man ultimate.
Gragas on the flank.
Let's see what he can do. Grog is a little bit far from this. I'm not necessarily concerned about it right now. He's actually, if Psychosis wanted to turn, they could actually just easily kill this guy. Ping's coming down. I'm not sure where the members of TBP want to go. They can kill this guy, and in fact, they're going to do it. The members of TBP a little bit far away. Blast Cone, or sorry, the Blast Cone barrel, going to buy him a little bit of space and knock away the Shen, and everyone just agrees to go back to their respective lane assignments.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of overzealousy by Angry Pickler there, thinking that he was not spotted, but he was standing on top of a ward. At this point, you do want your top laner to get that Rend Trinket just to make sure that his flanks will go off without a hitch. Dusk Legends nearby.
Dusk, he might be falling here. Psycho.
No!
Trying to do something, but nope, it's going to be Zoko that goes Godlight. Meanwhile, the backside, Albi's here, tries to lock down Antibiotics, not able to do it just yet, but they'll be happy with the one kill they've got. The Smolder starting to put in the damage. 238 stacks means that he is well within execution range, and now they can look to go towards the Baron. TBP feeling right on top Psychosis. They're running out of options.
They're running out of options, and this Zed is starting to absolutely pop people with his ultimate. It seems like as soon as he ults onto, if he just auto Qs you or auto Ws you, it's almost like he's just killing you instantly, and it's really, really tough to deal with, especially when you have champions that are squishy like this Evelyn and this Kassadin and this Yanara. Kassadin, normally is not this squishy at this point in the game because he's been so far down on farm. It's really not worked out in his favor. Meanwhile, Psycho is going to at least get a turret kill back to the side of Psychosis. That being said, it is still a 7k gold lead for the side of Big Pythons, and they are more than happy with that going into game 2. I mean, talk about a turnaround from the first set.
Potentially got caught there. Has forced to use the barrel defensively. Antibiotics potentially picking him a little bit more, but Psycho going right now. They've got position. They've got the damage. This Dragon might just be theirs. They want to stop this Dragon stacking from the side of TBP, but what else can they get? Black Mage. I'm sensing a little bit of an upset. I'm sensing something is wrong. I've got a bad feeling about this, but they have to get this.
They don't have the vision control. They need to give this up. They need to give this up 100%. You don't risk it. You've already got your dragon point. There's no reason for you to play aggressively and coin flip this game.
Teleport.
I understand that it's...
Here comes Gragas on the flank. This is a huge flank. He has no barrel to work with here. Redemption's going to keep some of them healthy. Not a lot of follow-up right now. Reborn just going to be a little bit worse for wear, but they have now successfully wrestled control of this river from Psychosis, but Antibiotics is just so low, and the lower you get, the worse it gets. Pulled into it, Zoko is going to absolutely execute the Evelyn, and now they have to get out of dodge. Surely they don't stay and try to contest this. Oh, but no jungle, no problem, says Psychosis. They want to try and get it. Anaconda getting dangerously close to hooking someone yet again. Low life feels, the exhaust going on Antibiotics. The follow-up, another barrel gets thrown out. It's defensive. Antibiotics on the backside of this wants to try and run away and beat a hasty exit where no one can hopefully see him. Not sure if they see him on vision right now, but Reborn throws out the Monsoon just to buy a little bit of space, plus a tornado, but this is kind of delaying the inevitable. No minion waves right now, so to speak, with though, and goodbye low life feels to try and go cut that wave in the mid lane so that we know we can teleport to it and push it in, but yeah, Psychosis really struggling right now to kind of stay active on this map.
Struggling to stay active on this map.
Nice hook.
Nice
Zoro, he's going to be able to get this one. One more auto would do it. He gets the execution. He's damn near legendary. 9, 2, and 6 on this Smolder, and absolutely lethal.
A killer performance by Manny on this Blitzcrank. I feel like this guy is everywhere at the same time, and he's landing all the hooks that he needs to secure multiple lanes kills throughout this game. I mean, just an awesome performance by him. So shouts out to Manny. I don't think he's getting enough praise for that Blitzcrank. Meanwhile, though, Albi making sure that he takes around that entire bot side jungle away from Bridge. And, we are getting to a point where Baron will be up soon, and combined with that Soul, this is looking like a very dangerous game for Psychosis. It's almost like one more fight, and they should be able to end it. But here's the thing. and it's something we did see last game. Big Pythons has a little bit of a problem ending the game when they're 10k gold up, it seems.
Yeah, and Psychosis right now, they're still trying to find ways to win this game. You know, they don't believe that they're out of it. Massive respect to them for that. Still staying strong, still looking for these angles, trying to find plays. It hasn't gone their way right now. They're just kind of systematically getting knocked around on this map, but they haven't stopped trying. Anaconda, he'd like to land this hook on top of Virgil if possible. They don't necessarily see him right now.
I'll tell you what, Maniconda, with the items that he has, he might be able to nuke Virgil. Virgil. He might be able to nuke Virgil if he actually gets a Q knock-up combo with his ultimate. That Malignant's ultimate is really, really sick, especially with the Hextech Rocket Belt. You do a surprising amount of damage on that Blitzcrank. The only problem is that he hasn't elected a damage-focused rune. He does have that Glacial Augment, which is obviously the correct play. I'm not saying that he should have gotten something damage, but obviously something that will inflict or influence the amount of damage that he can do in his burst. Oh no, Angry Pickler might be caught out here as Virgil comes around for the gank.
That's going to be the cast, buying them a little bit of space, but meanwhile, the rest of TBP is here, and they bit off a little bit more than they could chew, and Virgil's going to try and get the hell out of there before somebody sees him. Low life, man. She's going to go in right now, grabs one of the little flame feathers, and I'm not even sure really what they're called, but manages to grab one. Oh, Metaconda, he's looking for something, doesn't get the hook, it commits the flash. But that's how much power that TBP have right now, but they got to be careful. Psychosis. Psycho does a lot of damage. Antibiotics already down. Mom's called. A lot of that damage avoided, but that's still one down for the side of Psychosis. And we talked about how they have a little bit of an issue ending. Virgil on the backside wants to see who he can get here. He wants Zoko. Anybody else is not worth for him. Needs to get on top of that Smolder. They're gonna
100%, and he's in a good position here.
Yep.
They keep telling Zoko, though, don't fall behind us. You can't stand in front of us, and you can't stand behind us, because they know that Virgil is in the backside. They know he's got to be there, looking to pick one of them off.
Psychosis, they need to commit here. They need to find a way to get on top of him. They either need to sit down or get off the dance floor. And Virgil, he's just going to continue to look for the Smolder. But if you get him, you got to get him in one go. And nope, he's not even going to get the chance. He's just going to get immediately deleted by Albie here. And now that is disaster for the side of Psychosis, who are trying to maybe look to knock down that Smolder. We were talking about earlier about how there wasn't a tremendous amount of appeal for him, but it's not even mattering because the only direction that they've been going is forward. The Smolder has never been significantly threatened for the majority of this game. And they will just look to get out this Baron. But again, you said it a minute ago, and I think this is true, that TBP, yes, there is, like, it's a good thing to play cautious. And especially when Psychosis has the ability to turn things out. But, like, it's time to, like, know when you need to press the gas pedal and end out a game. And they've drawn this out, I think, probably longer than they needed to. This 33-minute game probably could have been a 28-minute game.
Yeah, 100%. All they need to do is group up as 5 and push bottom. Okay, tell me, who has wave clear on the side of Psychosis besides Psycho? No one. They don't have a lot of wave clear at all. And so it just really doesn't make too much sense for, Big Pythons to kind of play this out as long as it's been going, especially with the gold lead that they have. Okay, now that you killed Shen, just push top. You've got a wave coming. Push top
there's no reason to even be going to Baron. They do not need this Baron. They could be going there. No disrespect to TBP, but, like, one of the significant problems that I think they're going to go back and look at this, and something that you kind of need to isolate if you want to try and get better, is you need to know when to decisively end a game. You have a Yunara pushing mid. She would have to back manually, get all the way there. It's really not worth. You have Psychosis trying to contest you on this Baron. Really getting to Baron is kind of the only way you can lose. Yes, I know you're trying to be decisive and, be careful and, go through all the motions and the checklist and everything, but, like, you could have ended this game already. With the front line gone, there's no one to stop you from pushing in that top wave and just ending the game. So, and every second that you delay, you allow Psychosis to get back in the game. Like, you allow them to build more items. Caston is eventually going to be a problem if you allow him to get the items, but even as I say that, Antibiotics is going to go to the stasis. He's going to be down. The Redemption not going to land nearly fast enough to save that mid lane, and even if it had too much damage, TBP, surely they will start to end this game.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to move towards ending this game. All they need to do now that they've gotten Baron is group 5 top. You do not need to do anything else. Group 5 top, end the game.
You do not need this Elder. You don't need this Elder. You could just end the game. The respawn time was so long.
Now they're coin flipping again.
Yeah, no disrespect to TBP. I'm sorry if you go back and watch this, but, like, it is really important you understand that you are strong enough to end this game right now. But A little respect due. They're going to try and end it cleanly. They just want to make sure that there's no chance that Psychosis comes back into it. It is a grand final. They want to be very careful about how they approach this because they are trying to respect their opponent.
I swear if they reset with this Elder,
they're
I'm going
not
to be
going to
so
reset.
upset.
They're not going to reset. They're going to go ahead and end this out, which I think is the right thing to do. They can look to take this fight through mid, look to push in these waves. They have double buffs. They have them for the next at least couple of minutes. They're going to knock down these towers.
Group
And Psychosis.
Group mid. Just group mid.
Well, no. This is the one moment that's okay for not a group mid. They're spreading the barrier around, so I'm fine with that. They're going to wait for the next couple of minion waves. They're going to spread the love for Psychosis to kind of respond to them.
You just dive them and kill them. You dive all 5. You kill them. No problem.
No.
Now they're going to risk Abraham Pickler dying on the side lane.
It's not that, I'll be honest, sacrificing Gragas to get some more damage into the end of the base is not that bad. Plus, they can always rotate over, which is exactly what they're going to do. They have a ton of minions starting to pour into this base, and now Psychosis, they're just kind of watching their base slowly be wrecked. The shambles even being set on fire.
I've never seen 4 cannons before. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy seeing that. Well, here we go.
Oh, no. Don't disempower the cannon minions.
Yeah, they're still keeping empowered right now. All right. Too many minions for Psychosis to start to clear. Mom going to be called over just to do some damage. The super minions are also going to start to make their way as they are also super powered. And now Psychosis, they're going to try and make their final stand. Not sure when that final stand's going to be, but it will be coming soon. Standing Knight on top of Virgil. They want to try and get on top of Zoko. If you could kill the Smolder, maybe possibly there's a chance, but they don't even get a chance to do that because the Elder Dragon is just so powerful. Dusko's on a rampage. Zoko's legendary. The kills are coming through, and now TBP, they are moving to match point. It took a little while, but they finally got here.
Albi is consistently popping off game after game. Dusk Legends is doing an excellent job punishing these mid picks that really are going unanswered. He's really having free reign to counter pick almost every game. Not to mention that there's no real bans that are affecting him. And not to mention Manny doing an excellent job. First on that Cho'Gath that we saw him just doing tons of damage with. And then on the Blitzcrank getting hooks left and right, really benefiting his team. All together, this team is really pulled together and is doing some excellent things here out in the Rift, and because of it, they're up 2-1. On the other side of the matchup, Psychosis seems to be faltering as opposed to their earlier, triumphs. We saw earlier today almost every single lane winning. Bot, mid, and top were all doing an excellent job. Mid was more so mitigating the matchup, but we did see that top and bot were consistently winning those fights and also carrying that lead into the team fights. It seems like that has subsided.
Absolutely. Something I want to point out, kind of unrelated to the point that we're just making, and we'll cycle back to that. So I was just taking a look at the side selection stuff because I was curious, which teams have been kind of picking which sides and how they wanted to approach things. And I noticed a little pattern. I noticed that the first 2 games, Blue's side won, and then I noticed that on this game, that it switched and then Red side won. So what that might signal to me is that Red side might be due for 2 wins, and Team Big Pythons, well, they are in fact on the Red side, and they are starting the Red side selection off with a Vayne that is going to be going into a Yorick.
Yeah, it could be a Vayne into a Yorick. It could also just be a typical Vayne bot lane. I mean, we are looking at a champion that is readily flexible, especially in today's meta. It's followed up by a Vi. This is one of those champions that you would immediately just pick Xayah into, which is picked. Xayah, a very, very good pick into Vi, completely negates the ultimate as soon as she starts charging in. You ultimate, and now Vi's in the middle of your team without a pot to piss in, and will get absolutely blown up. So I do like the Vi pick here. That being said, I don't expect Vi to visit bot lane very much. Okay, Xerath, not the champion you want to pick into Vi, because Xerath, also not a champion you want to be first picking. Okay, listen, I'm just, I need to stop this. I need to stop what I'm doing and just focus on the matchup. Okay, so Vi is very scary into Xerath. Xerath is a great matchup into a lot of picks, but here's the thing. There's a lot of available champions that can affect this game. I would like to say Katarina. Okay, well,
yeah, they're going right back to the good old flexible mid lane picking team. Big Pythons, they are looking to end this series right here and right now, and they think the Katarina would be the best way to do that. And I mean, certainly a really, really good team fighting and a great way to punish Xerath. Psychosis, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but I think we're both kind of feeling the same way, which is you've gotten a little aggressive in the draft and you may have just been punished for it again.
Yeah, it feels like deja vu over and over again. It's the third game in a row where you pick these volatile mid laners without knowing it. Like, you just pick it blind into the matchup, and there's so many picks that can destroy you in lane. And Katarina is one of those champions that just absolutely destroys Xerath in this matchup. You have to be a magician to survive this as Xerath. You have to land the stun essentially and time the Katarina teleport perfectly in order to ever land that. Yeah, it's very difficult for Xerath to win this matchup or to do anything in this lane. Not to mention Katarina is going to be roaming a lot. That being said, I am also interested to see what the jungle picks are, or what the jungle pick is for the side of Psychosis, and what the top lane match is for the side of Big Pythons, or if they truly do plan on setting Vayne top. To me, Angry Pickler does not scream the kind of player that would play a ranged AD carry top lane, so I do anticipate that he will pick something else into the York, and we will probably see it last pick.
I have a significant question. Psychosis does not believe that this Vayne is going jungle because they abandoned Sejuani and a Nocturne. So their read is that this is going bot lane with potentially a Vayne or another ADC if the Vayne doesn't go
They think that
lane.
Manny's going to be playing the Vayne bot lane, the Vi
bot lane, the Vi support, which is potentially very interesting because now Psychosis may try and pigeonhole Team Pythons into an unfavorable draft from the jungle standpoint, but honestly, I feel like Vi is just a generally good pick, and you already have some immobile champions. Even if you can't get the Xerath, there's plenty of other things you could get. It's going to be the Cassante into the Aatrox. I'm really curious whether or not Big Pythons, whether or not they will choose a jungler as this last one, or whether or not they'll pick a traditional support or a different ADC. We'll have to see what happens here.
I think what's actually happening here is we might have still not seen the top laner. It might be.
I think this might be Vayne Vi. This might be. I'd be really surprised if it was Cassante support. I don't think so. I think it's more likely that Vayne might be support. Just like Vi might be support. I would believe that before I see the Cassante. So it's gonna be Thresh Xayah. The Cassante and Aatrox is a really heavy skill matchup as well. It's fairly safe for Team Pythons. This last pick is going to reveal a lot. They have options here. They could keep that Vi in the jungle. Oh, but wait a minute. It's going to be Yorick jungle. So it is Yorick jungle for Psychosis.
It could be Aatrox jungle. That's also fairly common.
Nico. Okay,
Nico support.
So this is going to be Nico support. So this is Vi into the Yorick jungle, I'm thinking, with Aatrox top, Xayah, Thresh bot lane, Xerath mid.
Virgil over. Virgil can flash smite and just one-shot the Nico. It is one of the funniest interactions.
Well, I would pay a lot of money to see that, and hopefully we get the chance to see that in this particular best of 5. Right now, though, TBP, they would very much like to put the finishing touches on this series and not have anything untoward or random happen. And so they will be looking to try and end it out here. They've drafted a pretty good composition to do so. I think there's kind of a trade of some conflicting problems. Low Life Feels, who has, I think, been getting the better of Angry Pickler, at least throughout this series, will be on that Aatrox duty against Cassante. And potentially we could see Low Life Feels getting the better of that matchup there, but it is traded by Antibiotics, likely to be heavily out-traded by Dusk Legends in the mid lane on that Katarina. So it's just a matter of extremes. Is who's going to be the more dangerous opponent here.
Yeah, 100%. I would expect that Katarina, once she hits level 3, is going to start becoming a menace to Antibiotics. Antibiotics really is going to have to play this so gingerly. And here's another thing. Antibiotics drafted into selected the teleport rather than exhaust. So if Dusk Legends ends up getting on top of him like he is right now, it is really hard for Antibiotics to kind of respond and do much about it. And I'm not really able to see, based on selecting the champion here in game, but I do not believe that he took any defensive runes.
Yeah, so he didn't take the passive shield. I forgot what it's called, but he didn't take the passive shielding that you could get on the magic tree there. Which I think probably would have been important for him to grab, but I think just trying to index into damage. I mean, I can respect that, though, because, to be honest with you, whatever damage is going to be lethal in that mixture, like, the shield probably not going to save you from the Katarina there. Maybe it's close, but if, like, I think if you made a decision like, okay, does the shield potentially save me, or can I just index in to get more damage and try and kill her? No, I think it's not necessarily the wrong call.
Yeah, I think Go ahead.
I was gonna say he's already kind of running out of mana here. Wants to get this wave shoved in, but doesn't really have the mana to do it.
Yeah, it doesn't have the mana to do it. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we do see Katarina grabbing the Dark Seal first item, so definitely signaling that she feels stronger in this lane matchup. It really wants to start getting some early kills and just snowball the lead from there. Nice little clone from Nico to avoid the Thresh hook towards the bottom side. This bot lane is pretty much a wash in my opinion. I don't really think that either of them are ever going to really have real kill pressure, assuming that the Thresh is consistently able to get the Xayah out of danger and vice versa by Xayah stuns. Nice little trade in the mid lane, but Xerath doesn't have any mana.
Manaconda, he can get out of this fairly easily. Will just land the root and flash over. Antibiotics potentially going to die. The Ignite and the Q manages to do it and gets to safety. Has to burn both sums to do it. That's going to be the first blood going over the Katarina, and if you're TBP, that's exactly what you want.
It's exactly what you want, and it's really, if I'm being honest, all you need to do. Get this Katarina fed to the point where no one in the backline is safe. You just kill Xerath over and over again. Then you've really only got one damage problem, which is Psycho on this Xayah. And to be honest, at a certain point when you get so ahead on Katarina, you just blow him up.
My God, that Thresh took half his damage already in a row, but that was really, really close. We were talking about the danger that Vayne can pose, and that was a perfect example of that. Ooh, Angry Pickler to get it.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh. Angry almost dying there due to the Ignite.
Oh, does low life flash for this? Or does Angry Pickler just bait this? He is doing a good job of it, Vayne.
A lot of minion damage.
Angry Pickler, you gotta be careful, dude. Yeah, don't donate this. Just play it safe. Here comes the Xerath. Just back off. Yeah, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. Virgil also coming up. They potentially want to die this. Oh, never mind. It's not gonna matter. They're just gonna kill him right there. And Albie needs to go ahead and try and get on out of here. We'll get a minion thrown at him. Not the worst. And he's just going to continue to clear up his Krug.
That is awful for Angry. I mean, he's going to have to TP back, so he's going to catch some of this wave. But he just lost, I think it's like 6 or 7 minions there. Yeah, I don't know why Angry or Pickler died there. Was there not a call? I couldn't even see if there's pings made.
I think he was getting passively killed down by the minions and then just died because Aatrox just kind of got, managed to get the Q or an auto or something. But either way, I mean, he was definitely too close and should have just backed all the way off. The call should have either been to try and commit to low life or just completely back off. And whatever that mixed call was, it didn't go well. So the response there is going to be that he's going to die. And he's not going to have any summoners for a little while. So low life is going to feel pretty good in that lane, at least for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, 100%. Dust Legends here in the mid lane.
Not too hard done by, though. Like, still does have the majority of CS. Like, is still up over 10. So, even though if he did lose a couple of those to the turret, he has been... I will say that has been the biggest difference, though, is even though Low Life has kind of been winning some of the individual matchups, at least during the laning phase, he has been, like, under-CSing just because of how aggressive Angry Pickler has been. But I think the flip side of that is Angry Pickler has been so aggressive in all these games that he's been repeatedly ganked, and I think that's been a level of frustration where he's been abused. But at least in the last couple of games, it hasn't mattered because the majority of the TBP has been able to play around that.
Yeah, Angry Pickler definitely is CSing a lot better than Low Life Fields has been throughout this entire series, and even in this first set, to be honest. He's consistently come out of lane, just, maybe 30, 40 CS ahead. But yeah, like you said, it's true. Virgil consistently getting advantages based off of his positioning, and it's kind of a wash in that sense. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Reborn able to get some significant damage in combination with Psycho onto Maniconda's Nico. Meanwhile, a nice
from Albie, a nice kill in that mid lane. Perfectly called. Well done by them to recognize that the Xerath was going to be super vulnerable. That's exactly what you want as this cat. You want to make her super, super dangerous, and she might even be roaming for a little bit more.
Yeah, if I'm picking Xerath into Vi Katarina, I am crying the entire game. That is so awful to play into. There's really nothing you can do, especially if Vi actually gets close enough to land the ultimate, which is really not hard. And yeah, both kills getting donated over to the Katarina, so now she's got 4 stacks on the Dark Seal. She's 1.1k gold up at 6.5 or 7 minutes. Man, that's rough.
Yeah, that cat is the entirety of TBP's gold lead, and she'll be happy to continue to expand on that.
Boots.
And she's got boots. Angry Pickler, I want to revisit this, needs to be very, very careful in how many trades he's taking here, because as has been demonstrated multiple times, Low Life Fields, I think, has just been the better top laner throughout the entirety of the series. He's going to land the chains. Xerath going to try and get a little bit more. Goes unstoppable, pulls.
That's sick!
Aatrox was underneath the turret. Oh, just manages to flash out, though. Had access to the summoner. One more turret shot would have done it. But great job by Angry Pickler to survive that damage, survive the ult of Dusk, is looking for something a little bit more, potentially might dive underneath the turret if he could think it was safe. Angry Pickler going to get a little bit of health back. He takes over to level 7, and now it's low line feels that needs to be a hasty retreat out of this top lane. Will look to get the reset, no teleport, so he'll have to take the long walk back.
100%. Yeah, Angry Pickler able to do a pretty nice play there on the top side. Pushes the Aatrox back under his turret and is able to win the trade overall. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Dusk Legends just making Antibiotics' life a living hell, trying to prevent him from being able to farm as efficiently as he usually does and getting 2 kills along the way. Is going to rotate, and I think they're going to look for the first dragon.
Angry Pickler will walk his happy rear end out of his top side. Psycho has to burn the ultimate to make sure that he doesn't get it. Feather Call is waiting. He's going to pull it. Oh, Dusk Legends! Nice to avoid the Feather Call, but does manage to get over the wall. Didn't have to burn the flash or the barrier to do it, but Dusk Legends could look to start to help with this dragon. And for a while, Virgil has been quiet. He's slowly just been kind of farming up a storm. Is still kind of even, though, with Albie. And his first dragon should be going the way of TBP. Virgil, let's see what he wants to do. He's got to go over the wall. Has access to the Maiden. He's going to pull it over there. This should just be an easy smite for Albie here. They're just going to clear those away. Ooh, that hook. For a moment, I would have laughed if that had stolen it, but no such thing will happen. So smite secures the dragon. But for a brief moment, we suspended belief and thinking that maybe that hook would... Oh, Reborn. Dusk. Ooh, nice dodge to the flake. God, the movement from Dusk Legends has been absolutely fantastic the last couple minutes. A masterclass on what to do there. Are they looking for a fight?
Yeah.
Reborn, he's going to get potentially stunned up here. Manaconda wants to try and see if he can land the ult. Potentially Dusk Legends is here. Ultimate going to be landed from Xerath. They might be able to get Manaconda, but the Blast Cone brings him to safety. And the clone to confuse Xerath will prevent any further damage.
Yeah, Dusk Legends is kind of putting on a show for us on this Katarina, but at the same time, kind of expected. I mean, this matchup is so impossible for the Xerath, and it's really a big reason why you can't be first picking this champion.
Reborn,
pretty good.
Yeah, Reborn missing that hook. If he lands that, conceivably, that Vayne dies there. But not only that, but then the silver shot away. As Angry Pickler, ooh, may have bit off a little bit more than he can chew. Does have access to the ultimate, goes unstoppable. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, it's a double play. Dusk Legends wants to try and get the kill. Isn't traded back. He manages to get the Vi, who was diving him. Not enough of a commit there from Legends, and probably should have been a little bit more aggressive at the top side, though. Still standing. Can't manage to get the Aatrox. It's a little bit of stun. What auto does it? Angry Pickler finally manages to win the 1v1 without a little bit of help. And that's going to be the TBP top laner feeling just a little bit better about that matchup.
100%. Angry Pickler, hats off to him for winning that 1v1, and it even looked like at the beginning he was actually going to lose it, initially losing that trade, but somehow, some way, able to just use his defensive stats. He ends up ulting Aatrox, takes some of his, and then he just turns into an absolute meatball and does the damage that's necessary in order to win that trade. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it just looked like Albie was a little bit disconnected from how far away Dusk Legends was. Dusk Legends, obviously, on this Katarina, can make multiple dashes and can close distance quite well, but not that far, right? Not to the point where you're dodging the entire screen length to get over to this champion. And not to mention, but Antibiotics also use flash in order to get that distance even farther. So at the end of the day, you're super stoked if you're Antibiotics. You're able to stem the bleeding there, pick yourself up a kill, and not only that, you are starting to slowly get a nice farm lead in the mid lane, which is slowly closing this gold gap. So hats off to Antibiotics for playing that matchup as best as he can.
Oh, hook did land on top of Anaconda. Is going to pop the ultimate, forces out the ultimate for Psycho. The Feather Call not going to be able to get him back as well. Angry Picker on the top side wants to see what he can get going, pulls the Aatrox back. Dusk Legends going to channel the ultimate, gets slayed by Virgil. Must have got caught doing something he wasn't supposed to. Reborn now going to be the next to fall. Abby here wants to see if he can try to land on Psycho. The cage slowing them down just a little bit. Abby here going to try and confirm. See if he can get a little bit more. Zoko needs to be careful. Lots of damage from the Xerath. Manages to dodge it. Manages to dodge the last shot. There shouldn't be any further follow-up, and they will walk out of this. So a 1-for-1 across the board.
Yeah, I mean, Antibiotics is doing some work. At least he's trying to roam and impact the other side lanes with his ultimate. That's what good Xerath will do. As soon as you get your ultimate on cooldown, you need to be looking at the side lanes and see what kind of juicy morsels you can pick up with it. He's done it a few times now, but
Antibiotics goes unstoppable. The cooldown's just too long. Turns around and slays the Xerath. That's what we were talking about, being a little too immobile. Angry Pickler Doesn't necessarily have a way to get out right now. Could he potentially get one? No, as Virgil is here, is going to go unstoppable, trying to see.
No
But the Maiden is here just to siphon just a little bit more. Is going to get slowed. Teammates nowhere nearby. Angry Pickler goes down.
Yeah, you hate to see it. I think Angry Pickler just didn't have the necessary vision to know that Virgil was heading towards that top side, but he did run straight through mid river, or mid lane. So I think that there was at least a little bit of knowledge that he was working his way towards that side of the map. Regardless, ends up falling down. Aatrox able to stem the bleeding himself and actually gets a bit of a lead in that lane once again. I think this game is just really even. Yeah, it is really even. It's 1.5k. It's perfectly even at this point, and a slight dragon lead though for the side of Big Pythons.
The question I have right now between both of these comps is, as they start to get out of these lanes, how well are they going to be able to protect Antibiotics, who is leading a valiant effort in continuing to CS and try and be that bastion in the mid lane for Psychosis, but in which will, I think, struggle once it comes time to get in the team fight, where it's going to be really difficult to keep eyes on Albie, not only on Albie, but also on Dust Legends. And this Dragon fight, I think, is going to be a great example of that. There are 4 people down here. Cat is running straight out of base. They potentially got Reborn. That's going to be the Pop Blossom on top of multiple people. Now they got to rock out for Psycho. And Virgil wants to get involved here.
Gone.
Angular Pickler is just finding a little bit of space. Low life fuel is here now. This Aatrox can
Katarina's in the fight. Watch Katarina.
Yep. Not had access to the back line yet. Wants to get involved. Virgil getting a little space. That's the Cat. Now doesn't manage to get anybody yet, but follows Virgil over. And now Low Life Feels has got to flash out, but he's on the wrong side of this fight. He's going to get stunned up. He's going to get locked down. Not going to be able to trade for anything. It is 2 dead for the side of Psychosis. And TBP, they're absolutely where they want to be. Psycho just trying to do a little bit of damage over the wall, but he needs to be careful. Dust Legends wants to pop over. Red Rover, send Katarina over. Angry Pickler not going to be able to land the hook. I'm sorry, Reborn not going to be able to land the hook. Angry Pickler going to be able to get the stun down. Dust Legends just doing a really good job denying some of the CC. That's going to be the Dragon taking. No one going to die despite the health bars being so low. Angry Pickler needs to get the hell out of here. Antibiotics doesn't have any mana, but will just force everybody to walk out, but nobody on TBP dies.
Yeah, no one on TBP on Big Pythons dies, but Dusk Legends really making us grit our teeth there. He was playing so aggressive without any health available. I don't think he realized that Reborn had respawned and had already run back into the fight, so it was a little risky. Psycho's probably going to fall here to the Vi.
Yep, that Xayah is starting to struggle a little bit, and now Zoko's just getting a little bit forward. Manages to flash to avoid the hook. I don't know if that was super necessary, but didn't want to risk it. That's a double kill going over, a kill going over to Zoko and a kill going over to Ali here. And yeah, as it was in game 1, so it appears to be in game 2. Do not. Dusk is just, he's whispering that he can hear it. Just go ahead, do it. Use the ultimate. Die.
Yes.
Get that Xerath underneath the turret. Yes, do it. Do it. What's the worst can happen? It's only death. It's only gold. But if you get that Xerath, everyone will love you for it. It's just the devil on his shoulder whispering.
Katarina.
Dark Katarina.
I feel like
whispering.
all Katarinas have that.
It's I don't know what the sound effect is, but it's just, Xerath just trying to back calm into this turret, and then you just see just Katarina slowly peeking her head around the edge of that jungle. Just, oh, you want to back, do you? I can stop that. Oh, that's a little bit awkward for Reborn as he pulls that one in. That's going to be the ultimate committed from Katarina. The ultimate as well from Anaconda. One more ult would do it. Dusk, flashed underneath the turret and potentially risk dying there. As the root is going to stop Antibiotics from doing any further ult, but now Virgil is here and he has something to say about it. And Antibiotics with the Q manages to at least trade back onto the Katarina. And so we'll at least get a little bit of that gold back. Oh, flash forward from Albie. Antibiotics manages to get a little bit away right now, but they need to be careful with Virgil. Instead, are going to walk away. This is a really entertaining game, although it is not particularly close right now. Some of these kills, yes, they are going back, but it's mostly just coming to the overforcing from some of the members of TBP, because outside of that, Psychosis really does not have a lot to kind of stop this from going. And exactly what we've called about Antibiotics being under threat, just nowhere is safe on this rift as long as this Katarina is alive. Ooh, low life.
Nowhere is safe on this. Oh, that was close. Nowhere is safe on this rift as long as Katarina's alive, but here's the thing. As soon as the mid towers go down, you would think that it would be an advantage for the Katarina because the Katarina now has the freedom to kind of tower dive. It also does give
Pickler. That was tragic, buddy. He misplayed the hell out of that and got punished.
Yeah, we're not gonna harp on that too much. It's just a misplay there. But once these towers go down, as much as we like to say that Dust Legends might just go down here, actually. Now that
he's staying here longer than he needs to. Maybe he was just buying time for Alva to get here, but that's going to be 1 kill, potentially 2, as the Maiden is going to go down, and into Biotics, the next to fall. Dusk Legends, an incredible performance on this Katarina. 4, 2, and 3, feeling absolutely powerful. In TBP, they can do no wrong.
They can do no wrong, and this Katarina is fully online. She's going to have the ability to absolutely blow anyone up if they're inside of the ult range for more than a second or two. She's already got 3 stacks on this Dark Seal despite falling down earlier, and now building slowly towards
the Hextech.
Forget the name of
the
that
Hextech
item.
Protobelt.
No, a Hextech Protobelt, or is she going to go for the Magic Pen?
No, I think it should be Hextech for the movement. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, it would make sense. I mean, because it's the. Let's see,
Is there a needlessly large rod in that build?
Yeah, there's a need. Let me double check. I'm fairly sure. I might also be wrong again. I might be exposing myself to my item knowledge. I say this like we don't have the ability to just check this.
I just forget item names too often. Item names are my downfall. I only know a few of them. Mostly top lane items because of how often.
Oh no, I'm
I've
wrong.
been
Yeah,
playing
that's not gonna be a Hextech Protobelt. I'm sorry. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, because that would need a Hextech. Yeah, so
Shadow
it's like the
Flame.
Shadow Flame. Right, that other item that uses a needlessly large rod, and not the one that I was mentioning. That doesn't use the. Yeah, this is Caster getting exposed live on air for not knowing some of the itemization. I cast the champions, not the items. That's what I got you for.
Well, here's the thing. They've recently boosted or buffed
bye,
Shadow
Psycho.
Flame, so now, where do you
Goodbye, sweet prince. Oh, antibiotics also dead. Right in front of the jungler. That's disgusting. That is a kind of dirty that you shouldn't ever be able to do something. It's like, hey, jungler, you want to see your mid laner die? Watch this. Hey, you want to see me do it again? Let him just respawn, and I'll do it right in front of your eyes. It's like a magic trick.
Yeah, it is a magic trick, and here's the thing. Another magic trick that's about to start happening is because of the Shadow Flame. This actually heavily increases the powerfulness. Oh, jeez. I am tired. Heavily increases the damage that the Katarina can do in these short, bursty team fights where you're dropping someone actually below the 40% threshold. So for those of you who don't know, Shadow Flame will actually make true damage. So it basically makes your magical damage and your true damage, if you deal any, critically strike enemies below 40% health, so that your abilities will actually deal an increased 20% damage. That is huge for bursty champions, especially Katarina, who is basically casting an ultimate that is nuking you already. So as soon as you fall below that 40% threshold, you get absolutely blown up.
Okay, this is where I'm going to struggle to remember this name because I don't use this item all the time, but it's the lightning magic item. It's the one that looks like a lightning rod.
Storm Surge?
Storm Surge. You know what would be great to pair with that Shadow Flame would be a Storm Surge to really, really make that hurt if you're the cat. And also, I think, too, like, the additional part about that Shadow Flame that I think is kind of like goes unspoken is, like, if you're cat, if you do have to cancel that ult early, at least you're increasing the maximum amount of damage that you can do in a short time because you may have to reposition, and you may only get that split second. So even just being able to maximize that little bit of time is huge.
Yeah, in a game like this where you're actually this ahead and the team is kind of depending on you to be the carry. I know that all the lanes are ahead, but in a game like this where you really just truly are kind of standing out as that position, I do think that she will probably...
Sorry, is this a fight taken for Albie? Yep, Albie going to be able to escort his friends out of there. Low Life Heals has popped the ultimate, and now that might put him into an awkward position once that starts to fall off because the other members of TBP are here. They can start to look for something. No objectives to play for right now.
What I was going to say is I think that
I
think that Katarina will probably elect towards an Hourglass. That will probably be the third item. Just gives her a lot more survivability, the ability to avoid the stun, a lot of the damage from the Xerath, and just really getting caught in general. It gives you some more time to dash away.
Yeah, fully agree.
Pickler.
It's a smart item. It's a great defensive choice, and we've talked about that multiple times throughout the day. Like how important it is to get that itemization right. It can be easy just to want to index into more damage or more utility, but having the ability to deny an easy kill to someone when you're in the head, I mean, that's just a great say. And also, like, it's great that there's money that she has to spend on what might essentially be, you might say, a vanity item. But only it's not really vanity because it'll absolutely keep you alive. Something else to point out, I just wanted to mention this before we go to the next point. TBP very quietly has been stacking dragons. They have not made a huge deal about that. They've just been collecting them in the background like they're rare Pokemans. And yeah, this you were talking about something that would really help the cat, other than potentially maybe an Infernal Soul, is a Hextech Soul, as that passive electrical damage, that passive damage that you get from that is really, really nice. And Dusk would be super happy to have that soul.
100%. Would be super stoked to have that. Not to mention that you know, I think something that we could also say is maybe she doesn't go Hourglass, Dusk Legends rather, doesn't go Hourglass because she doesn't want to incur your wrath.
Yes, I did say that I would viciously mock anybody that would buy Zonies because we die like men right here, as I have a cat trying to climb into my lap. Thank you, hello, goodbye. Could you go somewhere else? Thank you. There were pings coming down on top of this Baron a moment ago from Psychosis. Like for a brief unconscionable moment, they were thinking that they were just going to take that objective. But I think now they've decided that it's not a wise course of action. Zangu Pickler is just making low life feel like he's particularly low in life. Manaconda, what are you doing, sir? That is not the way through that route. You just wait for the Cassante to do that for you. And now they're going to try and get out of here. Reborn wants to see if he can land a hook. Chain's going to grab 4 as well. Angular Pickle will be momentarily pulled back, but everyone gets out of here just a little bit worse for wear.
Dragon's up in a minute, and neither team are setting up for the soul. I really don't know what's happening here. I would hope that Big Pythons is going to start relocating themselves towards that bot side. Just see some pings coming out right now for that, so obviously Albie has made the call. Guys, we need to get this Dragon Soul. Forget about Baron. It is time. That being said, if you're on Psychosis, if you're in this kind of position, I think you need to position for the Baron take, should they all go to the Dragon.
Yep. Reborn, unfortunately, is going to use his ult there. They want to try and kill Zoko if they can. We'll get him low, but not enough to kill GST yet. They will, however, force the Vayne to go back to the base and look to come back out. Albie here, at least trying to see if he can position somewhere where he will be in a place to contend for this Dragon. Vayne is going to be a little bit delayed coming out here, but does have a few seconds to run. Dragon has not yet spawned.
Yeah, they're in a bad position, though. I think Psychosis has kind of made the better play and gotten here at a better timing. That being said, yeah, I don't think you can go back if you're Reborn. You need to stay here and get this Dragon together.
Yep.
Okay, never mind. They've repositioned and they've lost it. They've lost the ground.
Yeah, they were just dragged towards mid, thinking maybe they'd be able to make a play for the tower. Maiden's going to be called. Reborn looking to see if he can get a hook. Manages to catch the 5, but that's not what you want, because on the backside, the mid laner is already dead. A lot of your damage already gone. Virgil the next to follow. Abby here goes on a rampage. It's stasis for the mid laner. Zoko also on a rampage. This soul is going to be absolutely theirs. That was what we were talking about. You got to keep track of the cat arena, and in a blink of an eye, health bars are deleted. Your mid laner goes down, and now pings onto Baron. TBP, is this the play that they need to end and win this series?
100%. If they get this Baron, this is going to be so difficult for Psychosis to come back in this game. You don't really have a late game guarantee. They have the Katarina. They have the Cassante. They've got the Vayne. They have the late game tools in their hands, and so they're already prepped to play this for the long haul. Not to mention that they've already won the short game. They've got the Soul. Now they've got the Baron, and honestly, this is just such a class act put on by the side of Big Pythons to go from basically 0-3 against the Psychosis team overall to winning back and going 3 games in a row. And if they make Reborn fall here, yeah, there's only one more Q there available for Xerath. He'll miss that. They can reset, get full health, and start to really make a difference when they start split pushing these lanes.
Yeah, and I would really like this time to see TBP to start spreading out that love across multiple lanes and really start to push in. That said, I mean, it's like Psychosis can do everything they can to make that hard. And I think let's change things from a different perspective right now. I think for Psychosis, they've done everything that they can possibly do to try and interfere with what TBP has been trying to do. They've been trying to show up to these neutral objectives, trying to get themselves in a position where they can do something. But right now, Low Life feels he may not be in a position to do anything other than potentially die. Albie just sticking to him like glue, forces the flash out. Albie happy to let him go as the Cassante is going to show up. They're going to start to slowly push these waves out. They've got 2 in the mid lane. They can rotate the jungler back and forth to provide support. They're going to have the Katarina and the bot lane slowly starting to push these waves. They're going to need multiple people to respond to her because she's so elusive and because she just does so much damage. They could potentially win a bursting fight. And I love what TBP are doing right now. They've got 3 lanes pushing with Baron empowered minions. They're going to slowly start to knock down some of these outer towers. And it's all about where Psychology or Psychosis, they want to make a play. They're sending 2 topside to try and deal with Spicy Pickler, but remember, Low Life has no ultimate, has already used it. And Reborn is just there to provide a little bit of emotional support, honestly. Meanwhile, 3 mid for the side of Psychosis. Putting damage into these towers. Angry Pickler, what else can you do that you haven't already displayed for us? Again, just slowly pushing his wave underneath the turret. It's just eating tower shots, by the way, but really none the worse the wear for it. And Low Life just trying to huddle underneath this tower, trying to see if he can get anything done. Angry Pickler wanted to get close. And the tower now targeting the cannon minions.
Yeah, it's this awkward, I don't know what we're going to call this or start calling it, but it's like something's got to be named. It's like when you have a 10k gold lead, but you don't really know what to do with it.
Oh, it's called decision paralysis. Yeah, it's called decision paralysis.
Decision paralysis? Okay. Yeah. Big Python seems to have a lot of that. But you can't blame them. I mean, they get the leads, right? Like, that's really what matters. This is like something that you like coaching will help you with, is like understanding where to be and what to do in these kinds of situations. But like okay, like right now.
Yeah, they're getting something for it. Antibiotics is just dead. They're gonna get a kill and the tower off of this. That's what they needed.
Yeah, exactly. So Big Pythons is pushing this bot side, which is great. But they could have waited until.
Low Life starting to get tagged under this tower. Dust Legends is not yet done. Following forward even further underneath the tower, goes to the golden stasis. Now he has sprints up as I messed with the camera. Sorry about that, everybody, as the chat is going to get turned on. That's definitely not what we wanted. And I may have messed that play up, but you know what's not going to be messed up is TBP potentially trying to end this game. The Baron is going to have weared off, but the timer is going to be long for both the top laner and the support. They're going to knock down this turret. Well, do they want to try and end it here? They will for sure get an inhibitor. They will look to try and navigate towards that top side.
They should be able to do it, no problem.
Yep. Antibiotics was to try and get here. They've got minions starting to pour into the base. Maiden's not really going to be able to provide them too much.
No more Baron, though. No more Baron.
Yep, it's been off for a little bit yet, but that hasn't really stopped them. And now towards the top side, they're going to go and knock down another turret and look to pick up another inhibitor. Zoko trying to buy a little bit of space. York would like to find it if he could. Angry Pickler going to get locked into the baby cage. Will go unstoppable, but surely will be falling here. Gets stunned, killed. And a little bit of a split call here, but the second inhibitor is going to fall. Dust Legends will try and get out of here. See if he can do it. Oh, manages to avoid the hooks. They got a lot of damage into that base. It's not the end they wanted, but TBP, they put in the work.
Yeah, 12k gold lead. They're fine with resetting here and just making another pass at it. I mean, one more mediocre team fight. Even if they kill 2 or 3 members, it should be enough for them to basically end the game. So good job overall by the side of Big Pythons. Just maybe misunderstood exactly the spawn timings on the side of Psychosis. That being said, Manicon might be getting caught here. I like the Reborn flash prediction.
Oh, he's faked him out. He's going to recall. They don't know where he's at. Oh, Reborn's going to see this. Yeah, manages to get the right one.
Oh, let's go.
He's cue the clown music. Yeah, manages to get him, but it took them a lot longer than it probably should have. It almost looked like he was going to get away with that. It would have been funny if he'd have been in the interim, managed to turn himself into like a minion or something like that, and then fake him out, but not enough time there. That's not what they wanted, but Zoko's going to go unstoppable. Angry Pickler is drawing a tremendous amount of attention, and this fight is just scattered all across the rift. How far do they want to pursue this? Angry Pickler is going to live for a really, really long time. Now Zoko and company, you're here. You kind of got to leave this one here. Is Maiden eventually going to get dealt with as well?
Yeah, it's like, I'm struggling to figure out what Psychosis can do to really get back in this game. You've got to be able to shut down Dust Legends first and foremost. I think we both understand that that's definitely the first thing that needs to happen. But here's the thing. Vayne's got a 700 gold shutdown. Silently in the background, Zoko has just become an absolute menace on this champion. He's got the three core items built up that you want on Vayne to start being really, really oppressive. And now that they got the Elder Dragon, I think that's the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, this is going to be the Elder roll into the Baron, and then surely the Force down mid. Really, they don't even need the Baron to kind of do it. Honestly, they could just win a fight in the middle of the base right now because their damage is so good, especially with that Elder-empowered Hex Drake. But again, as with all things, they're going to continue to play it safe. And look, we have given them a hard time, admittedly, about how long it's taken them to sort of end out these games. But you can't say that it hasn't been effective. It's been a little bit slower than perhaps other teams might like, but it's been effective. They've avoided some of the bigger mistakes that some teams make. Xerath is going to use the ulti to check the Baron, but we'll find no information there other than just the fact that it hasn't been started. I'll be here going to get knocked back. But respect where it's due. I mean, they've been very clean in closing out these last 3 games, and I think it's been really good for them to close out that way. And hopefully we will see them close out in similar fashion now, as they're going to grab this Baron. They'll have double buffs. They can look to just go mid and kind of wombo combo this into the final team fight.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to be comboing both of these buffs together. They should be able to just go ahead and either 1-4 push it down mid and end the game that way, or like I always like to say, hey, when you're this far ahead, just group 5 and just bulldozer down. You win the team fight. It doesn't matter if there's a tower there. You will win the all-in.
Absolutely. And this is likely to be the final push here for TBP. They're stacked as 5 in this mid lane. They've got the Baron empowered minions. They've got the Elder Buff. They have every tool they need to close this out. The end of the series is looming large. Psychosis, if you have anything left of the gas tank, if you've got any life left in your team, this is where you got to try and find it. You can find the moment. But they have so many fires that they have to put out and not enough fire extinguishers with it to do it. They're going to huddle around the remainder of their final turret. The minions are starting to pour in. The health bars are going to start to be affected. Miniconda cosplaying as a minion. Surely they know that he's there. Just trying to clear what they can. But the super waves will continue to push through. The tower gonna go down. Alien Picker gonna be in. The final team fight has begun. Zoro is dominating. The health bars just deleted. And TBP, they may have been beaten earlier today, but they have the final laugh, and they are your Yellow Division champions.
Congratulations to Big Pythons, really pulling it together, showing the brotherhood that they have with one another. They've been one of the longest lasting teams, able to stick through the problems that plagued them in the earlier today in the series when they initially lost to Psychosis 0-2, by the way.
0-2.
To come back. Yeah, to come back into finals through the losers bracket and beat them after a first loss, which, by the way, if you're Psychosis, you go into game 2, you are so psyched. You have the mental advantage. Big Pythons are probably so depressed that they've now lost 3 games in a row, and for them to turn that around into a 3-1 victory in finals, incredible. That's cinema.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back with the interview with the victorious team, Big Pythons, who have got their just desserts, their revenge, and their first ever championship within the TLS. How are you guys feeling?
I mean, this was such a hard-fought victory. Like, you guys don't even know. I don't know how much you guys are going to get to see, but that off-stream match against Menti Challenger was mentally challenging, to say the least. They were a very strong team. We were down 0-1 back against the wall, and we were able to come back. And I'm still in disbelief about that series. And then we come into this one. We lose game 1, unfortunately. The Zyra jungle didn't do what we needed. I thought it was good, but it was a hard game through and through. We come back games 2 and 3. We played very well through objectives. We were able to get at their champion pool, and we got the looks that we needed to play both objectives and team fights well. And we were able to clean it out and close out the series. And I'm very fortunate to have this team.
Awesome to hear it. And I mean, yeah, for the team to be sent into losers bracket to make it through a day's worth of games and come back into winning finals. I mean, hey, we saw it yesterday in the green division against us. So I mean, it's always possible, but it's awesome to see teams that have the mental resiliency to actually work your way in. I really am curious, what was the mental like going into game 2, knowing that, and I mean, you sort of just harped on it, going into game 2 knowing that you were essentially 0-3 against this team?
Man, you want to take that one or me?
I'll be real, man. I mean, it was rough because they kind of like, we weren't expecting the original like loss from these guys. They played really, really well, and they beat the crap out of us. You know, that's all I can say. Going in here after losing first game 1, our mental was insane. Like, I'm so proud of my teammates for keeping having faith in me as well, and like having faith in Albie, and like I'm so proud of our team for actually coming back on that.
One question
Yeah,
that I
awesome
think.
job. Victory.
One question that I wanted to ask you guys, and I think that a lot of us were wondering about this as well. On the 3 wins that you had in a row that you put together, we noticed that even when you guys had double buffs and a massive like 10K plus lead, it took y'all a hot minute to close out some of these games. And we're just curious, like, were y'all just worried about potentially throwing things? Were y'all just obsessed with like checking all the check, like all the check boxes on the list? Like, what was going on that y'all's endings was delayed?
Yeah, I noticed there were some like lulls in the fight where we could have just, you know, maybe gone for a little bit more or used the Baron a little bit more, you know. But I think we just wanted to play towards our strengths. It was kind of hard showing on side if we don't have a lot of vision. We kind of went for the more guaranteed stuff, which was with numbers. That's where we felt our strongest. And even if it took an extra Elder Dragon, it's what got us this position. So I don't regret it, you know, a single thing about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it makes sense. In a tournament series, you really just want to guarantee the win, no matter how what happens or how you get there. So that totally makes sense. I wonder if that changes moving into the league that's going to be set up in the future. If you start to tend towards ending games out quicker because you might be scared of a team scaling into the late game. But that being said, I do want to harp really quickly on individual performances. I do want to address something that we noticed in all 3 of your wins in the mid lane. Dusk Legends seem to be popping off all 3 games. I do want to know, was there a moment in comms when Dusk or someone else who's ever, I don't know how your draft decisions are made, but was there ever a decision made in comms during these games where you realized that Dusk had a counter pick answer to every single first pick mid laner that there was on the map?
I mean, Manny, you want to take this or I got it?
You were the one who planned pretty much all of our comms strategy.
Okay, so we made an adjustment from the first series or second series, I should say, where we usually do tend to early pick mid if we know the matchup or we have a feeling for the matchup and we have what, you know, a champ we think Dusk can play into it. But towards the later half of this playoffs, we just kind of felt that maybe it's better to just strong side Dusk, play towards a strong side mid lane, especially if he's ahead, like you saw in that Katarina lane. And it ended up just working out for us, and we think that was a really good adjustment for us to make.
One of the questions
100%.
that I had from you guys was this intention to go towards the Zed in the third game and then the Katarina in the 4th game. What was the call drafting wise that isolated where you guys made that decision? Was there anything specifically? I mean, we saw as drafter or as the casters that we thought, oh, this could be a problem. But like, what was the moment where you're like, oh, we need to lock these champions in?
I mean, Zed, Dusk is a very good Zed. He loves the champion, doesn't get to play it often. And when we saw the casting, we were like, okay, I think we just send the Zed here. We have Infinite Prio mid lane for the most part. Very good team fighting later on as long as Cassidy gets, you know, not to do his thing. And we saw the Evelyn pick as well. Like whenever this Evelyn goes on Smolder or whatever, Zed can just help turn and she can't really play the game. And the same for the Katarina lane. We saw Xerath. We have setup because slammed the Katarina and he kind of just couldn't play lane.
Interesting.
Yeah, really insult 2 into the Orianna.
Yep.
Well, gentlemen, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer because I know it has been a long day for you guys and it is late where y'all are at. And just want to say congratulations. Well done on your win. Well done on overcoming what it seems like has been a foe for you guys. You're now officially 500 against them, which I'm sure feels good. And obviously enjoy the fruits of your hard-earned fruits of your labors. And congratulations on becoming the first ever Yellow Division champions. And also enjoy the prize that you will be getting from the one and only Tyler.
Thank you. If I could say one last thing.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you to all of you guys, both of you. Thank you to Tyler. Thank you to everybody in the server, everybody watching, everybody in chat. I see y'all, even though I actually don't see you because I'm not stream sniping. But I love all of you guys. I'm very happy with what we have here. Very proud that I could play today and that we went the distance. I love my team. Pickle, Dusk, Zoko, Manny, all of you guys. Thank you guys. Like, I can't get over how insane of a team this was and how far we came. I'm so happy. Thank you.
Awesome.
Sir.
Albert, anything you'd like to say before y'all go?
Just GG's to Psychosis, and GG's to Mentally Chow, and thank you guys.
Manny?
GG's everyone. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Gentlemen, thank y'all so much. Go celebrate with your team. Enjoy the rest of your night, and hopefully try and get enough rest in the morning. And we look forward to seeing y'all potentially compete in the upcoming regular seasons and other tournaments that we'll have.
Thank you.
Cheers, gentlemen.